So, Triss, you've had a nice few days in Wed, and it's been really quite relaxing, actually. After the others left um, to head over to Perwold, you found yourself really back to your old practices of going through these books that you had acquired, and it took you back to some memories of your youth. The good and the bad. But you find now that without the constant distractions and the various shenanigans, your estimates of how long this is actually going to take to translate have kind of proven to be a bit inaccurate. You're getting through this translation very quickly. You can't help but wonder if this is largely due to the, should we say, unnatural aid you're receiving.
Ooh, somebody else is keen that I'm getting through it quickly. That's always concerning.
Kind of a copybook in a couple of days, during which time.
Oh, crispy?
The dentist wasn't happy with how it. He flashes a big grin to reveal a very noticeable shiny iron tooth.
Wow, that's quite
in
something.
the front row of his teeth. But yeah, by the end of the third day, you've wrapped up this translation, are ready to go. So as you hit the roads, the travel is fairly easygoing, made slightly less pleasant by a kind of constant downpour. It's not really a problem, but it makes the track a little bit muddier, and you can see that in places a couple of carts are struggling through patches, but you manage to wiggle your way around them. Being on horseback means you don't have to really worry too much about that. And with Havel in tow, you arrive in Perwold. But as you enter the city gates, you're kind of met by a wall of noise as this group of people. Well, a group is probably not the right word. This is a veritable crowd are kind of mincing around. You can see that they're kind of flooding out of this large Colosseum building. As you push your way through towards the central part of the town, you can hear that lots of them are chatting and discussing the various events that they've just witnessed. You hear something about, two colossal fighters hitting each other like little girls for a solid 20 seconds in the middle of this tense battle. And the trickery and wits displayed by a small fighter, you hear him described as, to blindside an enemy combatant. But as you push your way through, you do eventually see, towering over the head and shoulders of the crowd, Titus. He's not really looking at you at the moment. But you push your way through, and you can see that it is in fact the others who have just exited the arena themselves. But you can see this time that there's not one, but two Goliaths in this particular group.
Oh, so you lot have been busy while we've been otherwise engaged?
Yes. We got into a spot of bother, but all is well. Titus is reunited with one of his tribe mates.
Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you. Have you been busy as well, then?
Yeah, I've had great success with that task that you left me with.
Well, we shall discuss it later then. Today's been a very good day for me.
Yeah, did I hear something about a small fighter showing some great trickery, Torrik? That sounds an awful lot like it could have been you.
Trickery? Do I ever?
Yes.
So yeah, Tori, I mean, you've had a very interesting past hour or so. Obviously, the little extra dimensional trip was a little unforeseen. Thoughts are still very much forefront of your mind about what you saw while you were there. However, kind of coming back to your home plane hasn't really cleared your mind or offered any further insights into it.
No. It was a strange plane, wasn't it? It was described as having mercury silver waters, and I was stuck on a desert island from it. In fact, I don't think Torek grabbed a sample in the end.
No, you were a little bit preoccupied,
Yeah.
trying to get out, which is fair enough. But
Yeah, no.
I imagine
think
it's probably the kind of thing that would bug Tarek, wouldn't it? The missed opportunity there.
Yeah, it kind of curses to himself. Damn, I should have grabbed some of that mercury. Does like quote symbols with his gloved hands. Anyway, yeah, I got banishing struck and was put on a very strange plane, Trish. You would have found it quite fascinating.
Banished, you say? Triss is like ears have perked out up. She's really interested about this idea.
Yes, enemy spellcaster saw me as a nuisance and sought to remove me, but I did find my way out eventually. Luckily. And yeah, we came out victorious, and don't think anyone got seriously hurt. Did anyone get seriously hurt? Like looks over like Braxton and Titus.
So yeah, it's probably not looking great for Braxton's armor. At least that took a fair beating from the Tanaruk. Of course, their huge weapons have left fairly noticeable dings and dents and scratches. Not to say that his armor was spotless to start with, but you could tell at least that the worst stuff and blemishes have been carefully seen to, and if not fully concealed, at least made less noticeable. However, you can see, now it's probably going to take a bit of elbow grease to get it back up to its usual splendor.
Braxton, you seem to be looking even more war-torn than usual.
Maybe a little, but it's nothing more than a new story etched into this armor. I'm fine.
Well, if you need an eraser, I do know how to mend the smaller nicks and any of the embarrassing ones.
I'll be sure to let you know when I've checked embarrassing areas.
Glance between the two of them, like, did I miss something? She's not going to say anything, she's just going to look between the two of them.
Tarek's going to blush and be like, no.
So Tarek, you kind of blush a little bit, look down at your feet, and wonder about some of these stories that Braxton may have. Wonder if you'll one day get to hear all of them.
I want to hear more about his past. He's just got me interested enough to want to sit by a campfire for a session and talk about it. Or maybe we'll just, come along, get on the road.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because whilst you are discussing this, you hear a kind of almost from behind you, Tarek. And as you turn, there is quite an elderly elf stood behind you, and you can see from his robes that this is probably a scholar of sorts. Excuse me, I couldn't help but notice, and you can see, Tarek, that whilst he has originally addressed you, his eyes are constantly flicking over to Braxton. I have noticed the shield that you bear, Sir Warrior. I saw it in the arena. Could it be perhaps that you are of the Order of Azura?
Oh, I am surprised to see someone who has heard of it in these parts. Yes, I am.
Oh well, heard of it? Yes, it's been my work. I'm a scholar. Please, Ignatius Lorenz is my name. It's a pleasure to meet a knight so far south.
Just write that down.
Mm-hmm.
Ignatius.
Well met, Ignatius. I'm very pleased to find a scholar around here.
I've been looking for a group of people, and well, it seems I have stumbled across the jackpot. I hope this will interest you, Sir Knight, but I've been studying quite fervently these last few decades, and I believe I might have found a location of a pre-unification Azorian temple. I was hoping that you and he looks around the group quickly here. Your companions might be able to assist me in an expedition to uncover the true nature of this ruin.
Raxon's a bit speechless at first. This is pretty, big.
Yeah, so for the rest of you, the kind of pre-unification period of the Ilfari Empire was kind of a little less enlightened than these current times you're living in. But Braxton, you would know that it also represented a time when your order was significantly more prevalent across the continent than it currently is. Back before the modern pantheon really gained favour, Azora held quite a following, even this far south. That was, of course, lost after the formation of the empire and the adoption of this current state religion.
It would be a great pleasure to uncover such a thing. If I get everybody else on board, I am more than happy to assist in this matter.
At this point, you can see that Titus is not looking too happy about it, and Marimak is very clear to voice his opinions. Stones can wait. We have a friend who needs saving.
Well, Maramak has a point. Do we have any idea where your tribe mate could be?
I do not know this. She was sold by a small man to a different small man. I do not know who.
Where did this take place?
He points over in the direction that you know leads to the mercantile quarter. And you remember what the guards and Lady Cyrene have said about the slave quarters and the roaring trade that goes on.
We do need to track down this slaver before it's too late.
I
Could we divide?
take your point. It is a bit more of a pressing matter. Ignatius, would you mind holding on to this research, possibly? I'm assuming you will stay around the area.
Yes, I have quarters here in the city. He gives you an address, and it's not a particularly wealthy district that he's located in, but it's not a slum either.
Well,
I should be able to be found at these premises. I do most of my studying here nowadays.
Thank you. I will do all I can to make sure we get in touch with you as soon as possible.
Oh, that would be grateful. If it will help your decisions, I have small research grant that I could fund this trip with. I wouldn't ask you for your help for nothing, of course.
I'm sure that will help swing the favour for some of my party.
You can see that Havel's eyes are glinting with the promise of gold.
As ever.
Okay, let's go down and talk to these slavers and see what is said.
So by now, the kind of crowd of people is starting to disperse. Business is probably going to be a bit slow for the rest of the day for a lot of these storekeepers. A lot of these spectators will probably be looking for a meal and a few drinks to relive the day's entertainment. So as you make your way towards the kind of the markets of the city, you don't see as many people there as you would normally expect to. And indeed, some of the stalls look like they've kind of had their business shut up. Presumably, the owners went to enjoy the show as well. However, one area that does still seem to be doing a roaring trade differentiates itself from the other shops quite clearly because the wares on show are all caged. And as you guys make your way through, you can see that there are quite a few different, should we say, goods on offer here. You've got species of the humanoid nature, so you see a few shackled orcs in one cage, a few dragonborn in another. But you can also see that there are some, should we say, more exotic creatures on display. Havel kind of points out a few of the ones he's familiar with, but most of these are the kind that can be found, dwelling in the wilds reasonably close to settlements. None of them are particularly dangerous to warrant an immediate alarm. You're not looking at hydras or anything, but small ones that would still probably have taken a good few people to track down and subdue. Clearly, there's a lot of money to be made doing this. But you guys, you get a few paces into the slave market before you kind of get accosted by I would say short, but he's currently stood on top of several boxes, giving him an air of increased height. But a dwarf heckles you. You there, party travelling forward. I will give you 300 gold pieces each for the 2 specimens you have in tow there. You can see that he's kind of gesturing towards Titus and Marimak.
Oh dear.
These are our friends. We're not inclined to be selling them.
Oh, that's the way it is. I'm sorry. I could do 350. You see Havel weighing this up.
Chris is going to push Havel behind her. No, not a chance. They're our friends. We don't sell our friends where we come from.
Well, it's a shame, but your loss, I suppose.
They've kind of pissed her off a little bit. She's wearing a cloak. She's feeling a bit ballsy. She's going to step up to him and say, if you ever try and buy people like this again, we'll come down and find you.
Ooh.
Roll me an intimidation with advantage because of your cloak.
Ooh.
The billowing cloak.
Oh, okay. And that's 19.
He looks taken aback a little bit at this, but he quickly laughs it off a little bit. Well, then, how am I going to do business, my dear?
Maybe
Come,
find
look.
a bit more
I think we've
legit.
gotten off on the wrong foot here. Let me introduce myself here. My name is Malmar. I do a roaring trade in the finest quality slaves taken from across the continent. I apologize if these were your friends. It was not my intent. They look like fine specimens, and I thought you were here to sell.
We're looking for a friend. I don't suppose you could help.
Another one, another friend.
Another friend. We've got a
Oh,
couple.
well, yes, certainly. I can supply you with many friends at a very reasonable price.
Do you have any more Goliaths?
That's good. Menu?
That's actually kind of cute. The thought of Titus going down to a slave market buying all
Just buying friends.
So you're all my friend now.
My friend, for many money.
Just
You
like,
must
you
be
know,
a good friend. You cost many money.
Just all the slavers trying to convince Titus that they will make good friends.
yeah, so Goliath, he looks kind of down, strokes his beard a little, and has a think. No, I'm sorry, I don't think so. I think the last one was sold for, well, probably a few months back. We haven't had any caravans from Nordhammer in a month. I expect, though, if you hang around for a week or two, you might find a Goliath makes their way into my wares.
Really, I was being serious. Don't you dare try buying any more Goliaths. Do you know anyone else who has any Goliaths?
I don't think I can recall seeing any. They're fairly hard to miss. But I assure you they won't be the same quality that you'd get from me if you were to wait.
Who might keep records of the sale and purchase of such slaves that perhaps we could track one down?
Well, I have my sales records all done up for tax purposes, of course, but I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to impart that knowledge. It's privileged information.
And which government body would collect these tax records?
It all goes to the Lady Cyrene, of course.
Of course.
I doubt she's going to be too cooperative.
What about any dwarven slavers? Anyone in the market? That is to say, a slaver who is dwarven, not that deals in dwarven slaves.
There are a couple of others, but again, I assure you that any Goliaths they might have had will be subject to the same principle. We're principled merchants here. We don't go dishing out our clients' information at the drop of a hat. It'd be terrible for business.
Terrible indeed. I wonder, what if it was good for your business that you were to disclose such information?
Well, then we might come to an arrangement, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of get a little glimpse of where this is going, Rulin.
Yeah.
He is of a mercantile sort through and through.
And how would we go about compensating for such a request?
Oh, well, it might happen at a a coin purse gets misplaced here, and I don't have to go through the trouble of finding its owner. And in so doing that, I might step away from my records for a moment.
Mhm. Okay, now we need to work out how much that coin purse needs to contain.
Don't do it,
Yeah,
Torek.
I should probably pay for this one, right? Because you always seem to pay for stuff, Roland. I feel bad. Let your old pal Torek do it, and plus I reckon he can take down the any relevant notes faster than you.
Okay.
Ooh, how much time do you reckon? And Torek's going to stack up 2 piles of 6 pieces of gold, making 12 total. He goes, how much for this?
Well, I might very quickly glance away, but my gaze would be back upon it in a heartbeat.
Oh, well,
I'm a vigilant sort, you see. A lot of harm could happen if these books got into the wrong hands.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And I raise him to. I'm going to do a really small raise at first because I'm a gnome. I'm going to go up to 15 gold and just like do wiggly eyebrows as if to say, I know you're interested.
He looks very unimpressed at that.
Oh, honestly, it's very good gold, I assure you. Fine. 20?
Mayhaps I might step away for a moment.
Yes, I think a moment is all that'll suffice, depending on how well your logs are kept.
Ah, well, my logs are pristine. They are well formatted. You will need more than a mere moment to decipher them, my friend. He winks back.
Flippin' heck. What if I threw in this potion of boldness?
And what does that do?
Best direction of your life.
He swipes the coin purse and grabs the flask out of your hand and takes a little stroll.
Oh!
Um,
Fuck yeah.
so Tarek, you very quickly seize upon your victory here and take a quick look through this ledger that's kept at the storefront. After a cursory flick through, you find that the kind of the entry for Volria says that she was sold about a month ago to a household by the name of Arcturus.
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 That rings a bell. Why does that ring a bell?
It's well, I think RL, isn't it, the name of like a constellation or something?
No, it's not a constellation. I mean, Taurus is, isn't it?
Arcturus. Oh, it's a giant red star. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Sorry.
I love the paranoia from Tristan. Just like, where have I heard that?
I know it's-
Distant memory,
Arcturus.
absolutely nothing to pinpoint it on.
Just pure distilled fear.
Oh, how do you spell Bulgaria's name? Just on my records.
Yeah, sure. So VUL REA.
Okay. I like my notes to be impeccable.
That's fair enough. Yeah. So Torek, as you read, you can see that this is a local kind of house, if you will, of aristocratic nature. But it seems like they've had dealings with this merchant before. You see the name props up a little bit. But
What other types of slaves have they purchased?
they've got a few different sorts. A few of them look to have been gladiatorial combatants that were purchased. Others, you could see there are a few of the exotic creatures have been bought. But there are a few humans and half-elves in the mix as well.
I
Any more
think we
records?
probably have everything we need.
Okay then. I'll
Is the trader still a ways away?
He's kind of throwing a glance or two back, but it seems that he's content to let you guys take the time you need.
Are there
Torek,
any...
while we're
Oh yeah,
while
sorry.
we're snooping through his belongings, perhaps there's a little present we could leave behind for him. You know,
Are you
something
suggesting an explosive of some description?
something a little less flammable, maybe just a few droplets of acid to ruin his tax records, maybe getting him into a bit of trouble with the local
Oh, that's so naughty.
authorities.
Oh, that's so naughty. I like your thinking. First, I'm going to check if there are any other Goliath names.
Thoric, you cast your eyes for yeah, there are a couple. One of them, it seems that this was the chap who sold Maramak. You can see he actually sold him to Lady Cyrene. Actually, clearly he was purchased with the view of being put into this arena.
Well, that went well. I'm guessing there's not many else. So the only two Goliaths we know in the city are accounted for, so that's the important thing. I was just wondering if by some long chance there was anyone else.
No, you see that those are the two Goliath listed.
Cool. I'm going to turn to the summarize page of his tax payments, and I'm just going to subtly try and just erase the 0 at the end of it. So
just knock a digit off.
Yeah, knock a digit down. Yeah.
Makes a mighty fine fraud. Yeah, so you very carefully apply a drop of quite a strong mixture to this paper. And it very quickly fizzles, and the 0 at the end becomes quite illegible.
Excellent. I close the book and plop it down with a satisfying smile, and I wave at the dwarf.
He nods and starts making his way back over.
Thank you for your patronage. Enjoy the potion.
Oh yes, I will. He's already got a grin on his face.
Yeah. Right.
I wonder how boldness will affect sexual performance. Well,
It's an extra D4 on the attack.
I never thought I'd use an experiment as a haggling purpose. I'll have to go to him the next day and ask him how it went.
I probably wouldn't do that, have you?
If he's not already in irons. For fraud. I doubt the Lady Serene would take very kindly to one of her citizens committing tax fraud.
Yes. The fraud is all good, but what about his sexual libido? Honestly. So off topic. Oh, right.
You have the strangest priorities, Torek, I have to say.
What can I say? One-track mind, but usually the track is going in the wrong direction, sadly.
Well, we have a name. Now we just need to find an address, I suppose. Or do we have that as well?
Yeah, that would have been lodged down in tax records. But at this point, Titus kind of steps up. You can go help with rocks now. Me and Malmak will speak to this Arcturus. You can see that there's fire in his eyes already.
Ooh.
Right. Well, perhaps you should take some backup.
This concept looks completely foreign to Titus. Like he's on the warpath through, and you can kind of see that already.
Okay, just for the metagaming aspect.
Basically, a case of please don't go and do Titus's backstory arc without Titus.
If Jace isn't coming, maybe Havel goes with him.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Don't know.
It has been close to an hour now.
Before Titus does go, I'm gonna try and give him a potion of resilience, and just go. Good luck, big guy.
He kind of grasps this potion from your hand and kind of nods a thanks.
Hey, he didn't drink it straight away. That's good. Wedding.
Surprising.
I'm so proud.
Okay, cool. So Titus, Marmak, and for the time being Havel, but I might retcon that if he does actually come back. Head off to go and find this house. So yeah.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm thoroughly exhausted after that bout in the arena. And I could use some rest.
I second this motion. I really could use a rest.
We can... Well, what time of day is it, I guess I should say? Probably get
By this point, yeah, it's late day, late trading day anyway, so you're looking at kind of 4 or 5-ish shops are starting to think about shutting up for the night.
Suppose we can get some business done around the city if we need to, get a good night's sleep, and then go and meet Ignatius in the morning.
Sounds good.
Okay. Now, before I want to ask, did we visit a magic shop in Powwold, or was that in Weirden?
You definitely did visit one in Weirden. No, I don't think you did in Powwold.
I'm in the mood for shopping for some more magic items.
Let's go shopping.
Shopping.
Yes, so now would be a good time to resupply on anything. I can't remember, Guy, did I tell you about like the ammunition for your grenade launcher?
Yes, 3 flasks. I fired one of them.
Yes, but I meant like kind of resupplying and what that would set you back.
Oh no, I don't think I've got notes on that. Yeah, I don't have notes on the resupply. I was actually trying to be careful with them because I figured that the flasks may take an infusion to replicate.
No, so what I kind of had jotted down for that is that the flasks themselves aren't particularly complex mechanisms, largely being, just a case of a propellant and then a kind of a glass capsule for the liquid. However, the ingredients that go into that glass capsule are what give the shells their oomph, if you will. So how that's going to work metagame in terms of resupplying them is that I'm going to say for the base materials to make a shell, kind of a standard one's going to be 50 gold pieces for those components. However, you will be able to kind of choose the effects depending on what components you put in. So, for instance, you could make a shell that would do fire damage rather than poison damage, and that would be, flavored by you buying incendiary components. Damage would stay the same, but it would mean that damage type and potentially bypass resistances or whatever,
Very cool.
just to give it a bit of flavour.
Could I do a cheeky on top of that? And since I still know the infusion for walloping ammunition, could I make the container a walloping arrow and then put some special stuff in it?
You know what? Yeah, why not?
Fuck
I think that would make sense. Knockback effect would probably be something that could be applied to that. I guess it's ammunition, so why not?
Thank you, bro.
But yeah, I mean, you'd obviously then have to specify before you went and create them what element you wanted them to be, just so that you couldn't decide as the situation depended on it.
Yeah, I'd definitely have to plan in advance and have them in my inventory. I get you.
Cool. But yes, magic shopping. So, Rulin, you do manage to find a smaller shop. It's not as large as the one in Weirden, but you weren't really expecting it to be. But you can see there's a couple of trinkets on display. There's one that appears to be a pendant, and another a pair of gloves.
Is the shopkeeper around, or should I just wander over and take a look?
Yeah. So as you're browsing, a shopkeeper non-intrusively saunters over and stands to wait, clearly seeing if anything takes your fancy.
The pendant there. It's what properties does that hold?
Well, this is a particularly fine piece. As you can see, it's finest silver. And well, if you believe in such things, it apparently lets the user feel the presence of those recently departed.
Feel the presence?
The last owner wasn't too clear about that when they sold it to me.
Strange. And the fancy gloves over here?
These are a particularly fine piece. He grabs one and holds it out to you, and you can feel that the leather is very soft in these gloves. These gloves, as soft and smooth as they are, don't let that fool you. They have a remarkably strong grip. So strong, in fact, that, well, I think if you tried, you could probably climb up something almost vertical.
Sounds like something for Havel.
He does like to climb things, doesn't he, now that you mention it?
It would make his trees a bit easier. Well, he never seems to struggle that much.
I don't suppose Triss came with Rulin, did she?
I don't
Probably
know.
would have done, actually.
Huh.
How much
Maybe-
are these?
The pendant I can give you for 100 gold pieces. The gloves, they're a little bit more. They're at 125.
Well, now, Rulin would be very interested in the gloves because he's failed at climbing quite a number of times. Right. The damn thing about being a monk is that climbing is an athletics check, not a dexterity.
I just love the idea of being able to run almost indefinitely, like horizontally, but as soon as it even starts to go vertical, it's just like nope.
Not happening. So, Triss, if you cast your eyes over these, what do you make of them?
Triss is going to take them in and do a bit of identify on them.
So the amulet lets me wear a cast Speak with Dead at will.
Holy crap!
And the gloves are gloves of spider climb.
Nice. Triss is gonna sort of nod ahead at the gloves. Yep, you'd be able to climb with those, no problem. And
So what does spider climb do? Sorry, let me just double check. Until the spell ends, one willing creature you touch gains the ability to move up, down, and across vertical surfaces and upside down along ceilings while leaving its hands
Mind if I
free.
ask a very
Target also
game-oriented
gains a
question
climbing speed
for
equal
just
to
a
its
sec?
walking speed.
Oh, that's okay.
I was just wondering if I could ask or bring up something. I was just looking through my character sheet and looking through the description. I have an unassigned skill proficiency.
I did that with the language as well. I only found it when we leveled up to 10.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up because, I mean, if I were to put it into something now, because it's giving me free choice on it, I would probably put it into acrobatics if I was looking at it at a metagamey thing, just because acrobatics means survival from grapples and stuff. But, I mean, from a roleplay point of view, I would say that Torek has probably been doing a lot of, like, sleight of hand stuff and may have improved on that. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't mind whichever one, because it's something where he has been doing a fair bit of both, and as you say, he realizes that his longevity probably is being helped by acrobatics. But then he has been getting a fair bit of experience with his tools, especially kind of picking locks and all that sort. So really, it both would make sense. So it'd be up to you.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for that. I just thought I'd run it by you before coming to the next session. Like, don't you know I am proficient in what am I rolling? Medicine, yes.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with either. So
lovely.
Whatever you
I think
fancy.
I really like Torek, so I'm actually going to go acrobatics.
Fair enough.
Because a failed lockpick does not usually mean death. And if you make that Torek's mode of death, god damn you.
Noting down intensifies.
Well, I don't know. Acrobatics is a good one, because even if that lockpick fails and then you have an axe coming down at you, it would be an acrobatics roll to dodge out the way. So,
yeah, I suppose so.
So, back to the gloves. How many casts does it get, or is it like
the gloves?
What was that, sorry?
Once per day. Recharges after a long rest.
Okay.
What about that amulet?
The amulets?
Yes. Was it an amulet?
It was an amulet. What is it about it that you're looking to know?
What are the specifics with it? Is it Speak with Dead, did you say?
Yes, Speak with Dead.
And is that just like a once per day cast?
No, that one is actually at will.
Oh. Okay. Rule and carry on with your gloves if you're interested in those.
Yeah. I think I'll probably purchase them. So 125 for the gold, and what was it, 100 for the amulet?
Yes, that's correct.
If we purchase them both together, maybe you could give us a deal. Actually, I have something interesting you maybe want to purchase as well. I'm going to pull out the fucking coin. Let's see how this goes.
Oh no.
So, what I have here is a coin that when you flip it, if it lands on heads, it will assist you with any action that you want to take. And if it lands on tails, it will cause you to fail the action that you want to take. It's quite an interesting piece, really. And,
He kind of extends his hand a little bit. He clearly wants to look a little closer.
I have to warn you about flipping it right now. Maybe
No.
there's a test you could think of to use to prove its use.
So he takes this and kind of heeds your warning and is very careful not to flip it. But he examines it, and you can see it's definitely perked his curiosity. But he takes it, places it on the counter, and then you see him pull a magnifying glass from his kind of, well, whatever it is he keeps under his counter. But he passes this magnifying glass over it. Well, it seems this is an interesting piece indeed. Yes, I would be interested to take this off your hands. I could definitely work that into a trade. I'd go as far as saying I would knock off 50 gold from the price for it.
While we're here, Triss is going to pull out the teapot. And hand
Titus
that
is going to be
to him.
heartbroken.
I'm so worried about smashing it while we're travelling. Would you like to buy this as well?
He takes the teapot from you as well, and again gives it the same treatment with a magnifying glass. Though, yes, I would be very interested in this particular piece. Where did you get it?
Where did we get that actually in the end?
Right at the start. Was it in like the first pub or something?
Was it in the Hags? What was it? Where did we get it?
Before we got to Wayard the first
If
time.
it's from the Hags, I wouldn't tell him.
Wasn't it from the Hag's house or something like that? Or we got it around about that time.
No, we got it from the reputable source.
A potter by the name of Jim.
Jim, yeah, no surname.
Jim the Potter. That was his surname.
No relation.
All I've got here is Dragon Baby Truth Teapot. So I assume.
Oh right, so
when
it could have
we
been
killed the dragon.
from the
Yeah.
dragon. Yeah.
It was in the dragon wordlings horde.
No.
That seems like a while ago, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Scrappy note taking. 1.
Good insight into Pascal's mind as to what was important from that session. Dragon baby, magic teapot.
That was a dragon baby as well. Don't forget. Still
Oh.
don't know where the mother is.
Oh god, double whammy. Where? I don't know what to say to him. We found it. It was way out in the countryside. Looked like it had been abandoned a long time ago, in amongst some other quite useless junk. But yeah.
Well, I can say you certainly have an eye for antiques. This is quite an interesting piece. I would happily take that off your hands. I would trade that in for the amulet.
All right, you've got yourself a deal.
So, Triss, you hand over this teapot, which he handles with great care and places it on one of his shelves. And in return, he gives you this amulet. And as he says, it is a very well crafted thing. The silver is untarnished. you place that around your neck.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I think I'll trade for the coin for the gloves. 75 gold.
So you hand over the remaining 75 and the coin, and in return, these gloves are now in your possession. So they're a good fit for you, really. They were clearly made for a kind of fairly average sized humanoid. And he wasn't lying. This kind of leather is clearly of very high quality. They're very comfortable to wear. You do have to take your ring off and slip that on over the gloves because the fingers just aren't really wide enough for that. But you're feeling that your hands are going to stay lovely and warm, come what may.
Lovely.
Do you have anything else that would be perhaps helpful while we're out traveling? Something maybe a little bit more defensive or offensive.
I have a few weapons if you might care to have a look. And he's got a couple of kind of +1 variants of common weapons.
Okay, maybe not so much that. I don't tend to go so near weapons myself. Much more spell based as things go.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid that this is all I have stocked at the moment.
That's no problem. Thank you, though.
He nods.
Okay.
I don't think we have anything else we want to sell, do we?
No, I don't think
I think Havel wanted to try and sell something last time, didn't he? But can't remember. But we ended up kind of falling out with the trader.
so. Yeah, that went really well.
Well, I mean, I still do have the bag of holding that's got 500 pieces of old gold in it and the ornate full plate armor. Oh, wait, we've already sold the ornate, haven't we?
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to take that off.
Cool. So you wrap up trading with him, and by now the evening is kind of well underway. You can hear that most of taverns seem to be quite busy. It's probably a little bit late for a house call to Ignatius.
Well, I think we could all use the rest anyway. So, what say we head back unless anyone has anything to take care of?
No.
No.
I think I'm all hunky dory.
Okay, so you guys make your way back from the market. You find you guys have, with the exception of Triss and Havel, been in Powell for a while now. So you duck back into the tavern you've been staying at out of the rain. And yeah, you can see now the bar is busy. People have been here for a while by the looks of it. There's a good atmosphere, to be honest. It's really got quite a buzz to it. People are clearly quite excited. It's been a good day in terms of entertainment. The barkeep nods. He recognizes you, and he gestures that there's a table for you to make yourselves at home at.
Okay.
Alrighty, so if no one's got anything else to do, I guess then we'll just skip straight on forward.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. I mean, coriander soup.
Not here, I'm afraid. Coriander isn't on the menu.
But out of season, maybe.
Much to Tarek's displeasure. Just
Maybe,
not the special of the day.
maybe that's the next magic item we need to look at.
Just a jar of alchemy, but just like a spice rack of alchemy. Just
Once per day,
that'd be
sport
so
like
good.
summons a coriander plant.
Cumin for days.
it's either that or one of you just needs to learn prestidigitation and like actually hook Tarek up here.
Oops.
At this point, while Tarek's bemoaning the lack of coriander, Triss suddenly thinks to herself, "Oh shit!"
Well, it's just like it's probably 2 years of knowing Tarek, and not once have you helped him reach his culinary goals.
At this point as well, it's gone on for too long now.
Yeah, exactly. She can't break cover and let Tarek know that he's been missing out all this
Too long
time.
to admit it. Oh fuck, that's funny.
So, Triss, your soul is burdened with yet another guilt as you keep your mouth shut and let Tarek, I wouldn't say enjoy, but at least get some nutrition from his leek and potato soup. But you guys get some rest. Braxton, you, for one, are very, very glad to be back in bed at the end of this day. You could feel as you take the weight off, your body's aching quite badly from that fight.
Yeah.
It wasn't the easiest battle you've ever been in, put it that way. But nothing a good night's rest won't fix. Or at least not until I've worked out a system for enduring injuries, but there we go. So yeah, you guys wake up the next morning bright and early. The tavern is still reasonably busy. Some people clearly stayed the night.
Here we go, I've done it again.
Yeah, so you can tell that Tarek is back at it with his potions. Everything is right in the world, and you wake up all feeling well rested.
Long rest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it feels good.
So yeah, Braxton, you have this address for this scholar. It is unusual to find somebody who's first of all even heard of Azora, and let alone has such an interest this far south into the Empire. But he seemed like the learned sort from the impression you got.
Yep. Braxton wants to waste no time really in sort of getting this going and seeing if this is really an old Azuran temple.
So yeah, the rest of you can see that Braxton's clearly chomping at the bit here to get going. Somewhat unusual for him. But you have your breakfast and make your way over to the address he provided you with. And sure enough, it's a reasonably sized house. He's clearly not poor, but doesn't have any of the grandeur you would expect from an aristocrat's residence. But when you knock on the door, After a few moments, it's opened, and you see his face light up as he sees you all in his doorway. Ah, good. I was wondering if you would take me up on my offer. Please, come in, come in. He stands by. He gestures for you to come in. And as you enter, you can see that this house is really quite messy. There are piles of books, some on shelves, others stacked in kind of piles against the wall, others just left where they've fallen. There's a table and what appears to be the leftover utensils and cutlery and things from his breakfast. But this is very much, on the edge of the table. The rest is taken up with various scrolls and books. Torek, this is quite reminiscent of various colleagues of yours back in the academy.
Yes, it's a sad symptom of the student mind. Disorganization. He's gonna shuffle uncomfortably as he's walking around the books, trying not to step on them.
Yes, I'm afraid it was a habit I haven't quite managed to shake, or maybe a few decades more.
What's the D&D equivalent of a pot noodle? I imagine there's a few of those lying around as well.
Now that is a question I didn't think I'd have to answer tonight.
Ah, yes, potion of noodle.
Yeah.
Potion noodle, yeah. Just you could go see that his breakfast seems to have been some sort of toast or something similar, judging by the crust left over. But yeah, Tara, you get around and you can see there are a few kind of books that you do recognise again from your days at university. A few of them are archaeological related. Others more specifically about the various kind of proto-religions of the early Lafari Empire.
Ooh. Very interesting subjects.
I take it you are a fellow scholar?
Naturally.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. I must apologise for my state. I'm afraid the sorting system is somewhat lax. Tell me, what is your area of study, my friend?
Archaeology.
Oh, excellent. It is it's of great interest to me as well.
Yes, I also do a side of biology. It's more of a hobby, that, though. It's also my entire combat potential, so, there's that. Archaeology doesn't really have any combat potential, sadly.
No, that is true, I suppose, but still a fascinating subject. You seem like the learned sort. Have you read the latest works of out of the Bayford Academy by Professor Falnir? It's groundbreaking work of his.
Say what?
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you not read it? It's here, I might have it around here. And he starts looking through his piles, and after a few minutes, he stumbles across what he's looking for. Oh yes, here we are. And he plonks this thing down on the table, and starts flipping through it a little bit. It's really quite groundbreaking work. He goes into a great deal about what he calls a precursor civilization. I must say, from an academic standpoint, it could be better written, and I think it needs to be verified. But
will you shut up?
He's kind of taken aback by this outburst. I beg your pardon?
Great Falnia. Can I borrow this book?
Please, by all means, have a look.
You know, I'm quite acquainted with the good professor.
Oh?
Yes. He stole all my work.
He looks a little shocked at this. Stole all your work? That's a
Indeed.
very serious accusation to make.
Yes, it is. Sadly, one that ultimately I would have deemed insufficient evidence to prove. Part of the reason I left the academy. Toxic place.
Oh, you were at the academy? May I ask, faculty or student?
Bit of both. I mean, when you're there, it'd be a bit of a waste not to do some learning alongside it. I'll like point to a page, and I'm just like, Torik's getting like quite noticeably distressed.
So I didn't catch your name. I'm sorry.
Torik, nice to meet you.
Got a glint of recognition flashes in his eyes. I do recall that name. I think I might have read one of your papers. What was it? Chromatic Dragons?
Yes, that's the one.
It's an interesting theory, I suppose.
I mean, isn't Falnia's theories of a very similar ilk?
Well, no, not really. He goes a good deal further than that, I would say.
Are we all just stood around waiting for Torik to absolutely, like, go off on one?
Well, you guys are obviously here, and I imagine this is kind of like a popcorn moment for the rest of you.
We don't often hear Torik talk about his past, so Rulen's just kind of quietly listening.
I'm gonna start flicking through the pages and looking for any area of contradiction that I can find with anything I've found in my travels. So, does Falnia mention, for instance, like Hibonite, for instance, or the very complex mechanisms in which they stored their goodies?
So this is an incredibly thick tome compared to some of the other ones around here. As you have suspected, Tarek, a lot of your previous work has been, should we say, plagiarized in writing this. This isn't going to be something you can skim through.
That motherfucker. I'm going to point to it and look at the party and just be like, you see this? This is what was stolen from me.
It's quite a
Right.
big book. Even I would struggle to make off with it.
Yeah.
Just imagining now Torek just going into some like real rant about intellectual property rights, Tris. People like you or why these sciences aren't getting the funding they need.
The teachers' union will hear of this.
So yeah, where this is going on, Ignatius is kind of watching Torek. You can see that he knows at least that this book has clearly reminded you of some fairly, shall we say, influential moments in your past, and decides not to get too much in the way. Well, you can borrow it if you like. It's a personal copy of mine. But anyway, that's not why I invited you here. Instead, I have reason to believe that I may have found the location of an old Azuran temple. And he points towards an unfolded scroll on the table, and you can see, Braxton, as you look, this is clearly a map. A campaign map. a map that would be not out of place on a military commander's table. However, from the kind of style and language used, you can see this is quite an old map. And on it are marked several locations, some corresponding to places you know, others that otherwise would be wilderness. But he points to one of these locations. The markings here seem to suggest a temple of sorts. My theory at the moment is that it might have been a waypoint, a stopover chapel, if you will, for the knights whilst they were out on their quest and errands in these parts. I would be extraordinarily grateful if you could assist me in reaching it. The discovery could further my research by, well, decades.
This is a most interesting discovery. I, for one, would love to help, and I'm sure my party would assist. Where would you happen to have come across such a map?
The map I came across, believe it or not, from a travelling merchant of curios and antiquities. He, I don't think, truly appreciated just how old this map was. It was a lucky day for me.
I would say so. Would you mind if I take a good look at it, please?
Oh, yes, of course, please. He stands aside to let you have a closer inspection. And yeah, Braxton, as you look in, you can see that this bears the mark of a well, it's kind of a sigil, if you will, in the top right corner, indicative of a now defunct, but at one point quite high rank within the order.
Yes.
So this was a map clearly carried by one of your forebears, if you will, a previous night. As it wouldn't have been uncommon back in the day when the Azoran knights had a broader kind of grasp on the continent for these individuals to kind of go on quests, almost akin to what you're doing now. Only back then, the world was a little bit rougher even than it is today. Before the stabilizing influences of the Three Kings started to at least attempt to tame the wild. So a map was a incredibly important tool for the wandering adventurer.
Interesting. So if I look at the map, does it resemble like the map as we know it, or is it very different?
It's got a lot of similarities. You can see that the kind of major cities are there, but a lot of them are only townships on this map.
Okay. So
The world has clearly changed a fair bit since this map was penned, but you at least recognise most of it.
So Ignatius, which one of the markings was the most? Sorry, I almost went Yandorn then. So Ignatius, which one of the markings was the most like this temple that you said you saw?
He points you to where it is on the map. It's kind of a square with a kind of a almost triangular point on top and a line coming out of that point reaching up. You can see that there are a couple of similar marks at various points across this map as well. Here, it's that one. I reckon, given that map and today's version, I think it's safe to say about a 2-day ride southeast of here.
Great. I guess we can go check that out. 2 days away.
It's not on the coast, is it?
No, the point he's gesturing to is not coastal.
Just checking.
It seems to be seems to be in the forest somewhere.
Excellent. I like the forest. Let's go.
Never did need much convincing, did you?
Well,
So
we are well versed with hunting through old ruins. We could probably set off straight away.
that would be incredible. I would appreciate that greatly. If you'll give me a quarter of an hour to gather my things, I will accompany you. I'm very, very interested to see what might be there. Oh, and before we go, as I said, I have managed to acquire a small research grant. So I can put this towards your expenses. And he hands out a little pouch. I say little to each of you. It contains 200 gold apiece for you lot. Here, I hope this will make it at least a profitable trip for those of you who aren't as scholarly inclined as I am. I'm under no illusions that everybody is so interested in archaeology. And if we find anything particularly special, there might even be a bonus in it.
This is very generous. Thank you.
Yes, thank you indeed. And I'm sure we'll be very careful not to disturb any artifacts, won't we, Torek?
What was that?
No
Sorry, looks up from the book.
explosives as such when we're in the ruins, yes.
Oh no! I'll be very, very careful with the artifacts. Yes.
You won't go dropping anything fragile now, will you?
When have I ever dropped anything? Don't answer that.
Okay, so he dishes out these coin purses, and then you watch as he ventures upstairs, and you can kind of hear the creaking of floorboards and the ruffling as he sorts through what is presumably an equally untidy upstairs to gather his traveling kit. He's back with you in 10 minutes' time. You can see he's put on a fairly old but looks quite sturdy kind of leather duster and a hat to keep the worst of the elements at bay. All right, I'll leave myself in your capable hands. Please lead on.
Very well. We'll gather up our horses and such.
Mm-hmm. So you guys mount up. Ignatius kind of rents a horse from the stable hands. You can see he looks not necessarily completely unfamiliar with the horse, but definitely rusty. So he struggles a little bit, but after the first few hours, he starts to hit his stride a bit better. In fact, you start to envy him a little bit. That duster is doing a wonderful job in keeping the rain off of him. But you guys start to make your way a bit further south before taking a branch in the road off the beaten track. So So by now, the rain has kind of made the humidity even worse than it usually is. However, it has done a fairly good job of also killing off a bit of the heat. As far as you guys travel, it's obviously damp and not the most pleasant thing, but you find yourselves at least not completely overheating like you would probably be in a drier circumstances here. But every now and again, you guys stop and find a suitably thick tree to shelter under while Ignatius checks the map. He tries to keep you guys on a fairly straightforward path, but every now and again there's an obstacle that you just can't overcome and have to find a way around it. So this slows progress down a little bit. Braxton, roll me a perception. You keep glancing into the forests, but you don't see anything that's of immediate concern to you. But as the first day of travelling comes to an end, again, it's too wet really for the comfort of a campfire. But you guys pitch your bivouacs as best you can and try and get a good night's sleep. The second day starts bright and early. Well, I say bright; it's still raining, but it starts early. The horses are quite keen to move. It seems. Benefit is with all the rain, you haven't really had to go to extra length to really water them. They've been able to find enough water in the puddles that are forming quite rapidly now. But you find this bit a little bit easier, actually, as the travelling goes. Some of the thicker parts of the forest are slowly giving way to a more shrubland. You still have a fairly thick tree cover, but the going underfoot is certainly easier for the horses. About, you'd say, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you got to get to a point where Ignatius kind of signals for a halt. It's well, if I'm not mistaken, this hill up ahead is relating to this one here, indicated on the map. It seems that we must be almost there now. It can't be too far further.
Is he accurate in his assessment?
But you cast a glance over the map, and it looks like it. Obviously, the accuracy of these old maps is never, something you should take for granted. But judging from what you can see, it looks like, you guys are almost on top of this church, as indicated.
Can I see if there's any any signs of sort of buildings in the area? Maybe like even remaining shaped stones or brick-like material or anything.
Mm-hmm. So, Braxton, you take the lead a little bit and crack a little bit of a ridge. And although it's still got quite a few trees in your area, you can see probably a couple of 100 meters past this ridge line. There does appear to be some sort of structure, or at least what was a structure. But Ignatius follows you up to the ridgeline and says, excellent, that must be it. I suppose I'll leave this next bit to the professionals, as it were. I'll wait with the horses. Please go and see if it's safe to come.
I'm going to do something that I've still not done as a paladin yet.
Okay.
I'm going to divine sense in the area.
And because you haven't done it yet, I'm going to have to look up the fine print of divine sense.
Yeah, there's a few things it does.
Yeah, I've had someone do it before, but I'm just trying to remember exactly what the wording of it was.
I did it in Chaz's one. Let me find that.
Yeah, no, there's I know kind of the gist of it. I just want to make sure before I go and say anything here. If at least I can find a copy. Do you have a copy of it there, Rich?
Yeah, paste it here.
Sense, where are we?
I would paste it over if it copied. Oh,
Because I think the gist of it is, detect good
Yeah.
and evil, basically, but there is, certain things to it. Right, let's have a look. So you creep up a little closer to the ruins. You can see, and as you cast this, you stop for a moment and listen. Really, reach out with your senses, and you get no real response from this.
Good.
At least in terms of beings, you can see that this place was at one point consecrated. However, that you can imagine would have been a very long time ago.
Well, it seems as if it was some sort of holy place in the past, but a long time ago. Almost all traces disappeared.
Yes, well, it has been a long time since the Order was in these parts in any real strength. But I guess we expected this to happen. Well, I suppose it's probably worth our while to go and investigate.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. So, Braxton, roll me a perception as you advance.
It's just a flat 8.
As you move forward, something about one of these rubble piles catches your eye, but you couldn't exactly say what it was that drew you to it.
Since I didn't really quite know what it was, I just give it sort of a glance, almost a bit of a crumpled face, like what was that? But I don't really say anything out loud because it's just a pile of rubble.
So you take a moment and watch this rubble. Roll me another perception. So that's going to be just flat again, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you stop for a while and observe. And just as you're about to turn away, just out the corner of the eye, there you saw one of the stones just move a little bit, not much, not enough to cause any of this to kind of fall away, but you swear you saw some movement there.
Are there like trees around?
Yes, yeah, there's a fair amount of foliage.
Yeah, we are in a forest. Can I see if there's like significant movement due to wind on the trees?
You look to the top of these trees, and you can see that there is at least some wind.
Torek, judging by the movement of the trees, would you say that there's enough wind to perhaps move stones that are dormant on the ground?
Hearing this, Triss is going to cast Detect Magic because Braxton isn't exactly jumpy and it seems like a weird question.
The spell to return presence of magic, Triss. Quite old magic.
Folks, be careful, there's some magic going on here. Braxton, what did you see?
Nothing too remarkable, just some movement in those stones over there.
Well, I'm hardly a meteorologist, but I doubt a breeze like this could really move stones and boulders. Well, unless they were given ample enough time, I suppose, varying wind conditions.
Well, if the stones are moving, let's
Does
take a look and
know of any
Rulin will-
stone creatures?
I could blow it up.
Rulin will walk over closer and take a peek at the pile of stones.
So, Rillin, you get a little bit closer, tiptoeing a bit further forward than where Braxton has got to. Roll me a perception.
A perception.
A perception, please.
That's a 9.
You kind of take a glance at these boulders, and you can see that they're covered in moss in places. Clearly, been here for a while. You suspect Braxton might have been a bit jumpy.
I think maybe it's shadows playing tricks on your eyes, Braxton.
Could I tell which direction the magic was coming from?
Yes, the direction of the temple.
Away from the stones.
Well, the stones are kind of in the centre of this complex. Kind of looks like a pile of collapsed rubble.
So could feasibly have been coming from the pile of rubble.
Yeah, well, from your distance away, it's all kind of in that same direction.
Okay.
It's a bit harder to pinpoint.
You know what? Rulin looks at Braxton and said, "See, there's nothing to be concerned about." And he'll pick up one of the stones and try and throw it towards Braxton.
So, Rulin, you reach down and kind of grab onto one of these stones. You kind of heave it, but it doesn't come away. It does, however, try and swat you away. Everybody roll initiative.
I thought you were going to throw it at me, and then as it was going through the air, it was like, surprise, I'm a mimic.
Oh boy, that's a little bit more than a mimic.
So as you guys watch in horror, a stony arm kind of materializes from this pile, and Torek, you see that these are golems. And as a little aside, this is really fascinating for you. because this is a fairly archaic and outdated source of magic. People in those kind of lines of work have tended to shy away from golems in favour of the more practical and kind of controllable homunculi. Largely because the golems are fairly strong-willed and create a fair amount of havoc if their original creator either passes away or loses control. So they fell out of favour quite some time ago. But yet here these are. Moss covering them suggests that they might have been here a while as well. But yes, everybody roll your initiatives and get them on the board, please.
Okie dokie.
Just gonna go for a wee before we start the battle.
Uh-huh.
He's got a nervous bladder.
Wow, that's some high-ranging initiative there that we've managed to achieve.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the best spell loadout for dealing with these guys outright.
Every time we come up against something, I think, I really wish I'd thought more about what I would do against something like this. And then, yeah.
And then you push that fort aside and cast Eldritch Blast.
Yeah.
Hey Triss, is your book still enchanted by me?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Tasty +1.
About that.
Oh no.
Well, remember I leveled up.
Oh.
I believe my enhanced arcane focus now gives a +2 to spell attack rolls. And you still ignore half cover.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Well, there's a reason you keep the alchemists around.
Oh god, do you
Aside
want to
from
know
the
something
entertainment.
really morbid?
Well on.
My enchantments last a number of days after I die, equal to my intelligence modifier.
God.
Just a homunculus like zipping around looking for Torek for 5 days before eventually running out of battery.
I am back.
Poor Torek. I need to give him bigger batteries. He needs
Yep.
to learn to live his own life.
Do we have a Havel among us?
He's just been hidden in a tree this whole time.
Yeah.
Wait, I can't tell if he's been
No.
serious or not.
We've just started the combat, so we're right.
That's going to be a great
Ah.
entry for you.
Huzzah! I'm here.
Don't ask any questions. Grab a bow and let's get shooting.
Fuck yeah.
What should we roll? Actually, it might take you a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, so anyway, I'll go into a bit of detail. So yeah, you guys watch as Ruland kind of standing atop this pile, has this rocky arm swinging up at him to try and shoo him away. It's not a very well aimed blow, and he manages to dodge back and jump down from this very quickly animating golem. Safe to say it's a bit of a shock. All right, so everybody's got their place on the board. Torek, you're up.
Oh my god. Did not expect, aren't they? Okay. Sorry, having the first turn is a bit awkward for me because, like, usually I have everyone else's turn.
What are you, 19 and 20, and Braxton's done out 10.
Right.
Okay.
I'm going to drink a potion of boldness because I seem to roll those up massively disproportionately to the rest of my potions.
Okay, so
Roll up those temporary hit points for you. 7
12
plus
temporary
5, 12
points.
hit
Torek,
points.
okay. So yeah, you see where this is going and quickly chug this potion.
How's my libido doing?
You're harder than the golems you're facing.
Movement
Back in
speed
two
reduced by
seconds.
5 feet due to erection.
20-foot wobble.
Yeah. Your dick now has reach as a property.
5 foot! Oh god! Oh, I like this experiment. Oh, that's going to be awfully sad when he learns that the boldness potion only lasts a minute.
Unless you get in at like 5.
Right, I think I'm actually going to rotate round the side here. 2, 3, 4, 5. And just kind of get within casting range, but also like kind of staying low and not trying to attract the attention of the golem.
Well, staying low is something that, as a gnome, you don't have too much difficulty doing.
Yes, a low center of gravity is somewhat advantageous.
Okay, so yeah, you make your way and take a little bit of cover in the bush.
Lovely.
Alrighty.
That's turn.
So then that brings us to 3 of us on 19. So I guess we'll just have a roll and do it in the order that comes out. Just a flat roll. Actually, no, do it dexterity as well for initiative, I guess. Okay, so you two go first. And between the two of you, I don't mind you on swap order or whatever.
Yeah, Rulin, you might as well go first, seeing as though you're up close and personal. I feel like that's more kind of in keeping.
Sure. Well, quite surprised by this. What exactly? Sorry, I had to step away quick. What did Torek do on his turn?
Chugged a potion and ran into the woods.
Okay.
Self-preservation!
Okay. Well, I'm going to look at this thing in the eye and just say, hello.
You see no spark of comprehension
Well,
in this thing's stony eye.
okay. I think I see where this is going. Sorry, big boy. I'm going to draw my spear and attack. Kind of bad for waking him up.
Alrighty, roll those up, please.
First attack. Oh, 16.
You thrust the spear and it kind of just comes away off the boulder.
Reassess it, examine, maybe go for a headshot, perhaps. Nope.
You thrusted its face, but this thing is obviously bigger than you were really expecting, and it's actually still in the process of getting to its feet. So the spot you aim for, by the time you've lunged, is actually risen a couple of feet higher. So this thing is probably towering over you. In fact, you kind of thrust this spear upwards and still come up a fair bit short.
As backwards as it may seem, because he is made of stone, we'll also attempt a flurry of blows and a couple of unarmed strikes.
Okay.
To everyone else, this looks kind of ridiculous, but really knows what he's doing. And there we go. That's 26.
So you give a solid punch to this thing's shin, and you kind of see a crack appear in one of the smaller stones.
Okay. And as the special action, I'm going to force it to not be able to take a reaction.
Okay.
And then second unarmed strike. 24.
It is also a hit.
Okay. And wait, I didn't even do the
No, you
damage.
didn't. I was thinking you were going to do those at the same time.
No, I guess I could do, yeah. Right, let's do 2d6 then. It's 12.
12
8,
damage. So
18 damage.
18 damage. So you strike this this stone. The blows. They don't feel like they're doing as much against maybe an organic target, but you can see there's a little hairline fracture appearing in this thing's shin where you're hitting it. Your nice new gloves, like the shopkeep said, seem to be fairly resilient. The tough stone hasn't ripped any new holes in them yet. They seem to be quite sturdy. And it was a little bit of the blow, so you don't break any knuckles.
Sweet. Let's go ahead and do the old dexterity saving throw and see if I can push him back onto the ground, maybe slow him down from standing up.
Mm-hmm.
DC 15.
So yeah, you kind of using this blow as it's still rising to its feet. It stumbles a little bit. It kind of goes down back on one knee.
Okay. Then I'm very quickly going to take a couple of steps back. I'm just going to sort of hang out over here for now.
Okay.
That's the end of my turn.
Triss.
Okay, so Triss is gonna look at number 1 here, and she's gonna cast Hunger of Hadar on it. So he's got to succeed on a Dexterity 17. Otherwise, I open up a gateway to the dark, between the stars, an infernal region infested with unknown horrors. 20-foot radius sphere of blackness and bitter cold appears, centered on a point within range and lasting for the duration. It's filled with a cacophony of soft whispers and slurping noises that can be heard up to 30 feet away. No light, magical or otherwise, can illuminate the area, and creatures fully within the area are blinded. And additionally, the void creates a warp in the fabric of space and area's difficult terrain. And a creature that starts its turn in the area takes 2d6 cold damage, and any creature that's ending its turn in the area must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 2d6 acid damage as milky otherworldly tentacles rub against it.
Oh, shit.
So
Brief.
So that is going to do that again. And it fails. So the rest of you watch as this creature is brought up to its full height, only to be engulfed in this spherical blackness. Torek, from your position in the nearby bushes, you kind of hear all sorts of kind of horrific suggestions in your mind. Things are telling you to do things that you don't want to do.
Do any of the voices sound like Triss? All of them sound like Triss.
Well, it's
They all sound like Yenborn.
Or is it Torik's own voice, like, do the drugs?
every time you try and focus on one particular voice, that one fades and another takes its place, such that it forms a chorus of ever-changing but insidious voices in your head. Tris, if you want to roll that damage.
So knowing Torek, the thing is that he doesn't want to do is probably something like, go to bed early, Torek. Get a good night's sleep, Torek.
Eat your vegetables, Torek.
Don't disturb the others, Torek.
You can get away with not doing potions today, Torek.
Cold damage, so that's 6, is it? Alrighty. So, this creature is kind of just hidden from sight as this sphere engulfs it. Alrighty. Very cool. Then number 1. And he is now up. So this is rough terrain, you say?
Yep. And he's blind.
And he's blind. So I'm going to have him do a wisdom throw to see if he remembers which way he needs to be going to get out of it. Enough to be in the general direction. He stumbles out of the terrain a little bit. But he doesn't get close to any of you, and you could see this thing is quite bewildered as it comes out. Kind of fists flailing at stuff that isn't there, or at least isn't visible to you. And that is his go. Havel.
I wonder what Havel will do. See, a little green hand pointing at a good-looking tree there. It's a good point. How high are these trees?
Yeah, pretty high. So about 30, 40 feet.
Yeah, about 30 feet, you say. I'm not going to use it just yet. How high are these walls as well?
The walls are a little lower. They're probably somewhere between 15 and 20, depending on.
Okay. Well, from here, Havel will... Number 1, I'll use Hunter's Mark as my bonus action. So next round I'll get that bonus.
Okay.
And I'm going to try something. First thing I'm going to do is fire 1 standard arrow.
Okay.
Let's see if this hits. What's that? A 6. So that's 18.
The arrow hits.
Does it do anything?
The arrow strikes dead center in this thing's chest and proceeds to ricochet off, kind of flying harmlessly up into the air. And as it lands, Havel, you can kind of see the arrowhead has snapped off.
Okay, and shits and giggles, I'll fire 1 iridium as well. I just want to see. Oh!
So, a little taken aback by this. Your aim on your second shot isn't as great, and the arrow hits the creature, but hits an angled bit of stone on its shoulder, and this causes it to deflect in a horrible direction off and hits Torek. So roll me the damage against Torek.
Oh no!
Torek, you're minding your own business in this bush, trying to soothe your raging hard-on while you just get hit by an arrow.
Like dead on as well.
Yeah.
I'm squaring
In
my
the hard on.
Bear in mind, we don't know that Havel's here at this point. He didn't exactly announce himself.
What was that? Well, see modifiers of there, Jace.
So it would have been 6 plus 11.
So, Torek, you're left with 1 temporary hit point.
It
And,
doesn't say none of you know that he's here, and all you see is like an arrow fly out of nowhere, bounce off it and hit Torek.
the shock causes you to go flaccid immediately.
Oh no. I also like how I'm getting crotch updates.
Oh yeah, Jace, you missed that.
That's canon now. You sold it to that dwarf.
I'm. You know what? I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, so Jace, just to catch you up, it turns out Torek's potions have some side effects.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Be careful of the potions of boldness.
Or don't be.
Oh, they're the ones I always want. Yeah.
That's what you're after, I suppose.
Yeah, but the potion of resilience.
Triss is a little curious about how the potion of boldness is going to go if she drinks it.
And that is an experiment that we could try another time. Or after Torek has had a long rest and brews up another batch.
I can do it as a standard action, bitch, please.
Yeah, okay, why not? Middle of a fight, just, hey, Triss.
Yeah, just looking at the massive golem and crouching on him. Wait.
This gives me an idea. Alrighty, so
Rock hard.
Havel, you do see that there is a scratch, kind of like a gouge, where this thing is kind of ricocheted off. It doesn't look to have done much damage, but it definitely did more than the standard arrowhead did, at least. You reckon that if you got a shot off, that would probably be the most beneficial thing.
Okay, fair enough. And I will move behind Triss.
Alrighty. Okay. So Braxton, you've obviously just seen Rulin kind of get not quite flung into the air, but he's had to hop off very quickly. This what you thought pile of rubble has turned into a fairly hulking creature.
I'm a bit more concerned about this one who's kind of a bit close to Torek. Also, the Torek who's just had an arrow right in him. So
Torek may have yelled ambush when that happened.
So I'm going to advance on to it. And no bonus actions this time. I'm just going to use my 2 standard attack.
Okay.
I should have rolled them both, but let me check the modifier. That's a 17.
Hits.
I might as well roll the other one.
Yeah.
And 15.
That one misses. So you walk in and kind of swing the first time again to catch one of these boulders square on. As you ricochet the sword off, you use some of that momentum to turn it into a lunging thrust, and you have to drive it in between 2 of these stones. So roll me the damage for that one, please.
Yep. I used that hammer now, didn't I? Nice
You have
damage.
that hammer.
Actually, yeah, I'll just use the sword. It's fine. I will level 1 smite it as well.
Cool. So roll that all up at the same time.
So that's 2d8 of that. So that's 19 damage.
So you I put a bit of oomph into this hit. You can see that there's a reaction of this creature is still kind of flailing a little bit after that experience it had in the little sphere of darkness. So it's not really trying to defend against you. And this sword kind of hits home with a kind of boom as this smite makes itself known against this creature's lower leg. You see it kind of takes a step back in surprise almost.
Nice. That's my turn.
Alrighty. Number 2 now. He is take a wisdom saving throw to see if he's actually noticed Rulin's gone into the trees or not. No, so he hasn't really followed that. He was clearly too busy getting himself to his feet. So yeah, he's going to take his half movement to stand up fully again. And he's going to go the rest of it towards the people he can see, namely Triss and Havel. And that is his action for this turn. So, Tarek, back to you. You've kind of just pulled the arrow out of your arse.
Oh, thank you, merciful GM, that I was facing that way. Oh, jeez. I don't know what spell to cast. I guess I could just throw out a nice buff for people. Just a little buff. Just a little bit of buff. For the people who are probably most likely to be in combat. Or I could get behind Braxton. Move out. Get into a nice little, formation with him. So, I'm within spell range if anything goes wrong in his department. If number 2 decides to jump on him as well. I'm also going to cast Aid at 2nd level.
Okay.
So
flavour that for us, would you? How
Yeah,
does Tarek cast Aid?
he flicks 2 switches on the underside of his gauntlet and presses a button. Backpack beeps in response, and 3 of the needles kind of fly out the top of it and shoot an arc over into I'm gonna say himself, Braxton, and Roland.
Okay.
So one actually just shoots up and goes back into him. Really, not the most optimum design, but hey ho. And each target gets increased maximum health by 5 and restores 5 health.
Okay. So Braxton puts you on 99.
99.
Rulin, what's that? 78.
Yeah.
And for you, Tarek, that'll be 68, and then you've still got your 1 temporary.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, you guys feel the familiar sting of the needles as Tarek launches these at you.
It's got to the point where I don't feel them anymore.
You just can't find an unclear, an unmarked vein on Tarek's body anymore. It's just kind of heroin junkie level.
I just shove them into my shoulder, honestly, and hope for the best.
You should probably just install a cannula in your hands, permanently.
Oh, I imagine he's got a few of those already. But I
Feeds
think
directly into his pancreas.
I think Torek will enter in there. I was
Alright.
trying to think of a way to try and push number 1 back into that zone,
Oh,
but there is just no way.
I've got a plan for that. Don't you worry about it.
Oh my lord! I have my turn.
Okay. So I think for ease of getting this streamlined, we'll just say that same order as last time. So you two get to go, and then the golem does.
Sure. Well, if Triss has got a big plan.
Triss has got a plan. It's pretty simple. She's gonna Eldritch Blast and use the repelling blast that she's got on number 1. Both bolts.
Yeah, sure, roll 'em.
Ooh. So one of those is 20? Yeah, one of those is 20 and one of those is 1.
That hits.
Right.
Okay, so the creature needs to make a what save now, is it?
So it's just Eldritch Blast, so she just blasts him back 10 foot for that. And
10 foot. Okay, so roll me the damage against the creature, please. 10 feet.
Yeah. So that is 11 damage. And then how do we move this big guy back from a central point?
So from you there, that's 5, that would be 10. So this thing is kind of half in, half out, this spear. Turret. You can kind of see these kind of large stone arms flailing as this creature is trying to pull it out. And could that be that you just saw something closely resembling a tentacle try and pull it back in?
Yeah.
However, Triss, roll me the same damage, but this one against Braxton,
Oh shit.
because you managed to clip him in the back with that stray bolt.
What a friendly fire.
Five, 6, 7 damage.
7 damage to Braxton. Okay.
And also, he's probably gonna end up pushed 10 feet because
Yeah. So he's pushed 10 feet, but he's not quite there. But Braxton, you can start to hear the same kind of malevolent presences in your minds, and it is incredibly hard to focus on anything else as you approach this black sphere. Yeah,
So the golem isn't blinded as well. He's not fully in.
No, he's still got his kind of top part of his body, his head and his arms kind of out, but his lower half is there. But yeah, Braxton, you start to say a few mantras to kind of steady your mind a little bit. Cool. Rulen. Unless you wanted to move or any bonus actions.
Yeah, Triss is a bit uncomfortable about this guy here, and she's going to move along just sort of to here-ish. Yeah, that'll do.
Mm-hmm. Rulen.
Yeah.
You are up, my dude.
Okay, so I'll keep it simple. Everyone's gonna rush forward to there, so that's 20 feet. Then strike at this guy with the spear again. Maybe I'll better post. Going low again, just aiming to try and make a few cracks if we can.
Mm-hmm. So the spear lands.
Yep. Just roll that one first. 8. 9 damage there. And
Okay.
we'll spend a key point for a stunning strike. Let's try. DC. Actually, it's probably a really terrible idea because it's a fucking giant stone golem. But yeah, DC 15 Constitution.
Sure enough, this stone golem resists the key that you channel into it.
Right, second spear attack. Nope. The hit. 8 plus 7. 15 damage.
15 damage.
And with a couple of flurry of blows, let's just roll them both up and out. So 21 and a nat 20.
Hit and a crit.
Okay. So it'd be 3d6 plus 12. Yeah. 22.
22 damage.
And it's
So
got
yeah,
one of
you
the special action where he can't take a reaction.
can't take a reaction. Okay, so yeah, you go in low, a couple of spear blows, and followed up by a swift series of strikes, and you can start to see cracks appearing at this thing's rear calf, or well, the stones of it, the equivalent here.
Then backing away. So yeah, it's about there. I'll shout at it. Oi, big boy. And leave it at that.
Okay, so number one is kind of back. So Triss, roll me the cold damage.
I actually hold on a second.
Oh.
Oh yeah, no. If he starts,
We lost Triss.
Yeah,
Oh,
got a little bit of that, and then he cut out.
I was just double checking about his. No, but it's, if he starts his turn, yeah, he does. He does get the.
Sorry, is that my fault? I was filling up a kettle.
No, I don't think that was
Bless you,
it.
Kettle. Just get into
Hold on, I've
Pascal's
made a
internet.
mistake. It's 2d6. I'll just do another one. So that's 3 plus 4. So he takes 4d6 damage.
Full damage. Okay. So yeah, this thing is still struggling to get out. This time it has a little bit of an easier job doing so. But as it kind of comes lumbering out, Braxton, I need you to make me a strength saving throw, please.
That's 13.
So as this thing comes kind of clearing out here, it's not really actively trying to hit you, but you found yourself basically standing in the way of a rock slide. You're going to get knocked prone and back out of this thing's way as it just careens forwards for a little bit. And then as it kind of reassesses its situation, Tarek, it does notice you stood down there. And it's going to make some swings
Why
at
am
you.
I getting deja vu of getting kicked by Alistair?
Alrighty, so it is going to both its attacks against you. The first one misses. You're able to dodge that fairly quickly. However, as you kind of dodge out of the way of one massive fist, the likes of which would probably crush you quite thoroughly, you kind of get caught by this thing's leg. So you can take a bit of bludgeoning damage from that. 20 bludgeoning damage in total, Tarek.
You got it.
So yeah, this knocks the wind out of you. However, you've managed to stay on your feet and back away a little bit. Havel, you're up.
Okay. Oh, same shit, different day. Move here just so I have a slightly better view on our wonderful number one. And switch back to the iridium arrows.
Mm-hmm.
Standard, we'll go for doubles.
Yep.
You see Tarek flinch as Havel.
Mother! That's a 14 and a 15. Jesus, that took a while.
So, having had that first little mishap, you're very careful not to hit Tarek. However, this means they're not as precise as you would have liked, and you don't find any weak spots. The arrows instead strike kind of the main face of a lot of these larger stones. And you see, whilst they do kind of superficial scratches, None of them really give this thing pause for thought.
Cool. Wonderful. Good to know. Same again. I'll hide behind this wall.
Okay. So, Braxton, you find yourself between a rock and another rock. On the back.
Well, first port of call is to stand.
So you pick yourself up, and as you dust yourself off, you kind of look down and kind of tut as once again your armor is going to be needing a fair bit of TLC.
Every dent is another story. So, still worried that this one is dangerously close to Toric, and I'm going to pursue it. Hang on. I'm going to cast a level 2 bonus action spell called Branding Smite.
Okay.
Which adds damage to my next attack. Well, whatever next attack hits.
Yeah. Cool. So, channeling that, you come in for the attack.
Yeah, and then both attacks into this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. They both misses because they're both 13s.
Yep. So again, you kind of come in, but you don't find that weak spot that you did originally. The blade is turned aside quite easily by this massive, quite hard stone. But the creature doesn't seem to really notice either.
Right. Well, that's my turn.
Okay, so he's going to roll a wisdom saving throw to see if he realizes that Ruin's trying to distract him or not. Which he does. He sees that Ruin, and for a split second there, you see a little grin appear on its face as it turns and ignores you. And instead, it kind of lowers its shoulder and just charges towards this stone arch. So Triss and Havel both take a dexterity saving throw for me as this arch is just split asunder as this massive rock just charges through it.
Let me just grab that. How far away from? Fucking miles. Never mind.
Realise he's kind of not in the middle of those squares. Let me readjust that.
What is my dex? Plus 9. So that for me is a 15.
So, kind of seeing this coming, you two kind of shoot each other a glance and then kind of dive in opposite directions. Some of these rocks are quite sizable chunks to support an archway that's stood this long. And you see them kind of scatter around the place you've just been and embed themselves quite deeply into the kind of the ground nearby. But this thing's come through fists flailing as well, so it's going to launch at both of you. So how about?
I'm going to use Entropic Ward to impose disadvantage on that roll.
Okay. So Howell, he doesn't manage to get you. You keep your head quite low to the ground, and the fist goes over. Triss. So Triss, describe what the effect of that spell is and how that causes this attack to miss.
Okay, so so I can use a reaction to impose disadvantage. If you miss heavily, the next attack roll against the creature has advantage before you make it the end of your next turn. And I think Triss maybe just communicates a little bit with her patron that she's in trouble. And instead of seeing Triss, he maybe just sees a big mass of swirling tentacles. Just, maybe throws him off a bit.
Okay. So whatever this creature's seeing, it's enough to give it just a moment's pause before it lashes out. A moment that you use to kind of scamper away a little bit further out of its reach. And again, the fist kind of passes harmlessly through the air.
That's
Very cool. Tarek, you're up.
Yes, I am up. Sorry, I was just across the kitchen. My mic was muted. I am in a spot of bother. Tempted to disengage, but that just feels like a waste of spell time. This one is very much still angled towards me, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see that Braxton's attempts to intervene haven't really drawn its attention.
Cool. Let's try a new experiment. I am going to cast a spell on myself. Hitting the same tuning fork against this stone wall next to me and cranking it up magically, I infuse it with some of my gnomish illusion magic and create blur illusions of myself around me. So
Okay.
I blur.
Well, very cool. So this tuning fork rings a little bit, and you can see Braxton a few kind of shimmery images of Torek appear kind of next to him and around him.
Nice.
Like using the tuning fork as a spell casting focus.
Okay.
And movement would be a good idea. I'm going to move 5 over here. This is a stone wall, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Could I try an acrobatics over it?
It's quite high,
Oh,
but you can certainly try.
I will try. With my newfound proficiency, I'm feeling confident. 12?
So Torek, you really go for this, and you kind of take a running jump, and you manage to grab like a stone, and you use that to hoist yourself up and propel yourself for the next handhold. And as you go to grip this one, your hand lands on this stone, but the moss is just such that you can't quite get a firm grip, and you fall back down.
Oh no. Dang. I'll end my turn there then. If anyone asks me about that, it was one of the illusions.
Okay. Yeah, why not? Cool. So Triss and Rulin.
Rulin, do you wanna?
Yeah, can do. So the new gloves that I've got, what is it to activate them?
Well, you just go and approach a nearby surface and try and run up it, I guess. Just,
So I don't have to
kind of-
use an action or a bonus.
No, it's just would be part of the movement.
In that case, right, so I've already calculated it's 45 to here, so I can do that. Because, I'm
Yep, fast as fuck.
And then I'm actually going to try and climb up the golem's back.
Okay, roll me in acrobatics.
So, what was it?
Don't worry, I'm taking into account the fact you've got the gloves on for the DC in this.
Oh, that's good. So acrobatics would be 27.
So you kind of run up this thing, and just as you leap off, you hope to hell these gloves are as good as that merchant said they were. And as you land on this thing, you land just kind of above its hips. And the gloves are a amazing tool here. They give you a firm purchase, even on parts that have otherwise no handholds, and you manage to just kind of scamper up onto this thing's back.
Okay. While I'm up here, well, I guess I should say I probably stowed my spear because I'm climbing up, so I'm not going to be carrying the spear at the same time. So climbing up to where its head and neck area is, I'll try and make a couple of unarmed attacks against that.
Okay.
So this is actually just standard unarmed attacks. 16.
So as you kind of line up for a punch to this thing, you quickly see kind of a fist kind of coming up to try and get you off, and as you dodge out of the way, it kind of throws your aim a little bit, and the blow doesn't land where you were expecting.
I'm trying to bring an elbow down, glowing with the energy of ki. 19?
This time it does connect.
Okay. Let's do 12 damage there.
12 damage, okay.
And let's go for ye old stunning strike. Because DC 15. Does it get advantage?
Yep, magic resistance.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, again, this massive stone just seems to dissipate the key you're channeling into it.
Okay. Bonus action flurry of blows.
Okay.
One hit, one crit fail. Oh.
Okay, so roll me the damage for the hit.
6. 10 damage on that one.
10 damage. So, Rulin, you kind of carry on with this vicious assault of blows. And as this kind of crack forms on this thing's shoulders, your determination to keep this going is you don't see this creature bring its hand around the back of its neck, and this thing grabs you. You are now grappled, or well, I should say, clutched in this thing's giant fist.
Okay. End of turn.
Okay, Triss.
Right, I'm gonna Eldritch Blast number 2 here, who's got Rulin.
Okay.
I'm gonna use Repelling Blast, and also because of the Entropic Ward and him missing me, I've got advantage on those.
Yep. So roll them separately then.
So that is 16.
So the first one hits, but you see no damage from it. It's clearly not enough to do it. But the second one has a much better effect.
Super.
Okay, so roll me the damage for that, please.
What am I doing? 12?
12 damage.
12 damage.
So you
push back 10 foot as well.
Yeah, you push him back over this pile of rubble he's just created. So he's going to take a dexterity saving throw.
I'm going to yell at Rulin to hold on.
And this thing manages to keep its footing, even though it's quite rough terrain. Clearly, it's used to traversing stone terrain, but it keeps its footing and it keeps its grip on Rulin.
Cool. And I'm just going to stay put. I don't really think there's anywhere better for me to go.
Okay. So Havel, you find yourself kind of staring very close to your quarry. No pun intended.
Is it not number one, Scrub?
Oh, yes, you're right, it is.
Sorry. I know we
Doesn't change the fact that Havel is in fact still stood next to it. So this creature, seeing this attempt at Torek to climb, it's got a turn to follow it, and in doing so has actually noticed you there, Braxton. So it's going to launch one attack at each of you. I'll do Torek first because it's disadvantage because of the blur. Good job too. Still a hit, I'm afraid.
Damn it! Avoided the crit though.
Yeah, that is true. There's silver linings and all that. So another 18 damage, Torek. And a concentration, if you will. Because blur's concentration, isn't it? Okay. He's just gone selectively deaf. No. Have we lost him?
I don't know. Guy?
Oh, he's muted himself. Well, we'll get him to roll that when he comes back. It's not something that needs to be done immediately. And Braxton, attack against you. Again, yeah, this is like trying to stop an avalanche. Your shield goes up, but the force comes through and is kind of jarring blow to your arm. But not too jarring, apparently. So that's 11 damage, by Braxton.
I also need to roll concentration for that. And that's fine.
Yeah, cool. So you keep that up, and whenever Guy deems us worthy for his attention again, we'll get him to do his. And now, Harold, it's your turn.
Okay. Big old chunky boy here. I'm gonna move over here and risk
Okay, so
a reaction.
there's going to be an opportunity attack.
Yeah.
And he is going to use the fist that has ruling in it. So you are both going to be...
Absolutely smash me.
Yep, so using ruling as a kind of club, you guys are both going to take this damage. So 17 damage to the pair of you.
Goes my temporary HP.
Okay, so yeah, Havel, you kind of take a bit of a battering. As kind of Ruland's noggin is just used to smack you on the back with a hell of a lot of force, really. But you keep your footing and manage to get away.
From the bar. I guess I'll do the standard number one. Because I never use them. We'll stick with the iridium arrows. Hey, that looks better.
Yep, so
22 and a
that's
29.
2 hits.
Sick. With the iridiums, that comes to 20.
20 damage. So you put these arrows in. These ones, you can see these cause quite significant chunks to kind of falling away. Kind of fist-sized lumps in parts. So you can see that these iridium arrowheads are hurting this creature. Alrighty. Braxton.
Alright. Well, after not going so well last time, Braxton's a little bit angry. He's going to try and attack again. And I realised last time I should have rolled separately because I've got this branding smite, and if one's a crit, it'd be unfair to say, oh, it applies to the crit.
Yeah.
So I rolled it.
That makes sense.
15.
15 minutes.
Oh, God.
So you kind of lunge in again, going for a thrust. However, this creature kind of steps into it, and the blade hits its kneecap. And as you've kind of extended yourself to lunge here, it just brings a fist right down on top of your back. However, you manage to kind of see this at the last minute and then kind of stop your lunge short, sacrificing the hits for the fact that you're still alive.
I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So the creature here is still gripping you there, Ruland. So roll me an acrobatics to try and wriggle free.
$19.
Just about does it. So as this thing kind of looks and watches Havel run away, you kind of use the opportunity of this thing kind of pulling its hand back to kind of wriggle out of it. Now, this creature hasn't really taken kindly to the Eldritch Blast that it's just received, so it is going to kind of lumber over towards Uterus. So attack of opportunity for me, Ruland.
That'll be a 19 because I've still got my spear.
Hits.
Seven damage.
So it's not the most dangerous strike you've given this creature, but from your kind of prone position, or not prone, but kind of, shall we say, crouched position, having just wriggled free, it was quite impressive to even get a hit off quickly anyway. But this thing doesn't pay much attention, just goes barreling towards Triss with both fists flailing. For 2 hits. And a lot of ones. That's still 25 damage for Triss.
Oh god. Okay.
But it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, trust those ones.
Well, that's what you get for selling your soul. Yeah, so you kind of take a considerably lighter beating than you were expecting. After kind of checking yourself to make sure you are in fact still breathing.
I need to roll for the spell as well, don't I?
Yes, concentration for that. Yeah, you're fine. That's still up.
Cool.
Okay, brings us back round again to Tarek.
Hello.
So, first of all, I need you to do a concentration roll for Blur, please.
Yes, I was about to bring that up. Let's see.
Yeah, you're fine. That stays. No problems there.
But wait, in order to preserve the experiment, I must show no pain.
And then, yeah, you'll go.
Okay. I'm actually going to leave its threat of opportunity, provoking an attack.
Yep, so I'll do that. You've still got blur, so it is at disadvantage.
Yep.
Again, you dodged a crit,
Oh,
so
come on!
it's a hit, but it's another 10 damage. I'm rolling a lot of ones today for damage. Still, Torek is not looking healthy, I might add at this point. He has taken a fairly sound beating from this thing. And again, another concentration for Blur.
Yes.
That's,
by my calculations, I'm on 21 health left.
Yeah, it's a lot less than you started.
Now,
Okay. So, yeah. That stays up.
I was going to do some spell fuckery, but I think I'm actually going to take another 5 foot back and drink a healing potion.
Sure. So, roll me that, please.
Sure thing. So, pure healing will be 2d4 plus 5. So that'll be 8 healing.
Mm-hmm.
That's up to 9. And plus 11 temporary hit points.
11 temporaries, okay.
And I am my turn now.
Yep, so you feel some of the bruising subside a little bit. It still hurts like hell. Okay, so Triss and Ruin.
Ruland, do you want to go first? I think you're in.
Sure. Jumping back up onto my feet, dust myself down. A little bit embarrassed. Draw my spear and seeing Triss getting a bit of a beating forward and stab it in the back.
Mm-hmm.
3.
That's a hit.
11 damage there.
Okay, so the first spear strike goes in.
Nice. Second strike.
Another hit.
Uh, 13.
Yep.
What the hell? Flurry of blows. Skip then. Ugh. 2 14s.
2 misses, so the creature kind of hunches up its shoulders and presents a kind of a harder target to these fists after those 2 spear strikes. And they don't really find the openings you were looking for.
Okay. That's it.
Triss.
Okay, so I'm gonna cast as a bonus. No, actually, sorry, changed my mind about this. I'm gonna cast sorry, trying to make up my mind here. Yeah, I'm gonna cast Eldritch Blast, double raise at number 2, but just standard. I'm not trying to push it away or anything.
Okay, so you are in close quarters, so that'll be disadvantage.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So it's 4.
So the first one, kind of as you stumble backwards, you trip up on a rock and this goes wild.
Okay, 15. Not doing very well there.
Yeah.
And then as a bonus action, I'm gonna cast what is it again? Far step. So I can teleport up to 60 feet to an occupied space, and I'm gonna drop the
Yeah. Okay. So you
drop
get
that.
rid of that.
not. I did terribly. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, and then where am I gonna move? Yeah, I'm just gonna bob myself way over here. I think that's
Sure. So you kind of, as you're stumbling, you kind of trip yourself up backwards over these rocks, and the Eldritch Blast go wild. But before you hit the ground, Havel, you watch as a kind of a bank of fog quickly erupts from the ground and kind of swallows Triss as she falls into it, only for her to reappear across the courtyard from you.
That's a cool description of Misty Step. Was it Dim Door?
No, it was Fast Step.
Oh.
cool. Alright, yeah, that's me done.
Alrighty, so number one here is still kind of preoccupied here. It's tried to kill Braxton, but not really had much luck. With Tarek kind of disengaging, it's lost most of its interest in him, so he's going to make attacks at you there, Braxton.
Boy.
And one is going to miss, and the other is going to give you an opportunity to attack back.
Right, I'll take that opportunity to attack that. And hit.
So roll it up, please.
Nine damage.
9 damage. So the kind of the arm lashes out, but you use your shield to knock it aside.
Hang on. Branding smite applies to my next hit.
Oh, okay, yeah. Add that to it.
Yes, that's another 10 damage. And now
10
that
damage.
goes away.
So, yeah, the arm you kind of brush out the way with your shield and kind of almost do a kind of 270-degree turn and lash with this sword. As it connects, there's a kind of thunderclap as this energy is just released into this thing, and several sharp shards of stone are blown off this thing's chest. Alrighty, very cool. And Havel, you're up.
Cool. I am going to move a little bit. Kind of like there. Oh, actually, I'll still be able to see number one from there, won't I?
Yeah, it's not particularly small, this creature.
Yeah.
It's not going to get much cover from that arch.
Excellente. I think we all know what's going to happen here. I'll use the iridiums. Oof. Yep.
You say oof, I think those are 2 hits still.
That nearly landed on a a very bad number.
Yep. Okay,
So, yeah.
so yeah, 2 hits. You want to roll me for damage?
25.
25. Okay, so these arrows again, they're kind of knocking bits away now, and you can see that it's starting to do some real lasting damage to this thing. Kind of bits of its arm have kind of dropped down to the ground and aren't really animating anymore. Okay. So then, if you're done, that is Braxton.
Well, I've got to hit at some point, is my sentiment.
Persistence is a virtue.
So I'm going to reactivate Branding Sprite. Why not?
Sure.
Level 2.
Okay.
You only need to wait another 2 rounds to actually hit.
Yeah, I just need an opportunity to hit it. And then let's try these 2 attacks.
There you
There's
go, you
one.
got it. That'll do it.
And I'm very annoyed at the about 7 attacks I've done without hitting now. I'm going to unleash a level 3 smite.
Because he just didn't have enough d8s.
I didn't. So that's 1 from the weapon, 4 from the smite, and 2d6. Um, 39 damage.
Yeah, and you know that is exactly the number you needed. As this sword plunges outwards, you manage to get this thing right where the kind of neck joins the chest, and as this blade goes in, there is an almighty flash of light and a thunderclap, and this thing is just kind of rock debris is sent kind of scattering everywhere around as this thing just kind of erupts from the blow. So the rest of you, you're kind of having to dodge a little bit as much smaller chunks of stone start to pelt around you. But you know the more sizable chunks that aren't shot up into the air by this just collapse into a pile of scree at your feet, Braxton. So that bit there is now going to count as rough terrain, but that is that one done.
Damn.
And I've got movement, so I'm going to move up.
Okay.
Yeah, even with rough terrain, that's enough. So I'm just going to
Yeah.
go up in this one's face.
Yep.
That's into my turn.
So this one, you know, clearly having had this target just disappear in front of it, very confused at this. Is going to turn around and in this confusion is just going to swing at both of you, one each. So Rulin, you first. And that is going to miss. You can have ample time to dodge from this rather shoddily aimed blow. For Braxton. 23. You are not so lucky. This one, as you advance a little bit, confident, perhaps maybe too much from that last strike, you catch an arm across your shoulder blade for the trouble. So 16 damage. Alrighty, Tarek, you're up.
Nice. I'll approach on this last one. It's got quite a considerably more amount of health than that last one did, though, didn't it?
You don't really know. It's kind of hard to judge on a boulder.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Actually, ooh, yeah, I'm gonna keep a little back and turn my head to Havel and go. I think I'll take a leaf out of your book, and I'm gonna load an acid arrow and shoot it at it.
Okay.
And I'm gonna make this a level 3 spell. I'm gonna make it level 3.
Sure.
Cool. So, make a ranged spell attack against the target. I can't. Does Flash of Genius? Jeez,
Not an attack
Oh,
rolls.
shit. Sorry.
I would not have thought that would be attack rolls.
Ability checks and saving throws. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have known that. My bad.
Flash of genius. I should hit this. It will do more damage. I'm missing.
Advantageous.
Can't believe no one's thought of that before.
Oh, I wish there was an aim action in D&D. Anyway, rolling. No!
So the problem with taking a leaf out of Havel's book is you lack Havel's experience in all things ranged combat.
Yeah.
And this arrow kind kind of manages to sail over this thing because you don't give it enough lead.
I'm gonna have it like explode over it and take half damage still.
Yeah, so you kind of hit the remnants of that wall. And there's a little bit of splash on it, so roll me that damage, please.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I'm blanking out. I've 5d4 plus 5. And this halved. 8 acid damage.
8 acid damage. So this acid does seem to be eating into some of the stone, and this thing visibly staggers back from this. But it's kind of still animated.
Methinks it doesn't like acid.
Okay, so Rulin or Triss, you're up.
Rulin?
Sure. Keep it simple. Plus spear attacks straight into its back. Wow.
The spear glances harmlessly off this thing's armoured flank.
That's just the flurry of blows. 2 unarmed attacks. Let's see how this goes.
One hit and one miss, but roll me that damage.
8 damage.
So, as this thing's staggering back from the acid, after spear attacks have missed, you kind of just leap forward with this kind of almighty punch. And as this fist kind of impacts with the center of the creature's chest, you feel your ring make contact quite soundly. A kind of spider's web of cracks appears and starts to ripple outwards. And as these cracks kind of reach the extremities of this thing's torso, the whole thing shatters and again falls apart, whatever energy animating it clearly dispelled. And you're left with another pile of stone. Torek, you can't help but be a little sad that, this temple and the structure has been damaged in this conflict, but you're more relieved at this point.
Mm-hmm. I would, I think it's looting time. Gonna see if there's anything but stone in the rubble, like if they had like a crystal core or something.
Roll me an investigation.
I'm gonna flash of genius, take plus 5. 27.
27. So you take a look through the rubble. The one that Braxton smited is long past salvaging. That is kind of just been turned into far too small pieces to be usable. However, in the one dispatched by Rulin, as you're kind of rooting around, you find what the remnants of this thing's head were, and kind of using a bit that you suspect might have been one of this thing's kneecaps, you crack that skull open to reveal that inside this stony skull there is a small little kind of oval-shaped topaz gem.
Ooh, topaz. Very cool.
Quite outdated in terms of magical storage, but still viable at least.
Yeah, I can find a use for you.
Whatever energy that was in it has been expended with the.
I just added a topaz in from D&D Beyond. Is it worth 500 gold pieces?
No, it isn't. That's it's going to be like a homebrew item. It's not what's listed there.
Yeah. I get the imagination that the mineral market in this world is a bit inflated.
It's a little different, yeah. Cool. So yeah, that's the only thing that's there that seems to be of interest to you. The rest is largely just rubble at this point, rubble and moss.
Cool. After taking out the topaz, I get like an arrow and toss it down to have a like. You show up and I end up with this in my ass.
Havel will take it. Just be like, from what I hear, Toric, wouldn't be the first time.
Toric like it has a stern face on, but then it like slowly turns into a smile. And he goes, "You always were a pain in my ass."
Triss looks pointedly between Toric and Braxton again. She's formulating some ideas about the comments that had been made earlier.
So yeah, you kind of take a little time to get your breath back. But as you look around, you can see that the area you're in is clearly now quite decrepit, and most of the structure is very far down the path of being reclaimed by nature. However, you do find that there is a stairway leading down into presumably some sort of basement that seems to have remained unblocked over all this time.
Oh, is the scholar okay?
Well, he obviously didn't come too close as you guys were investigating, but you kind of cast your eyes back and see him kind of wave to you from the tree line a couple of 100 yards away. I think I'll stay out here if that's quite all right with you.
Sure thing.
Yes. Well, perhaps we should take a quick rest before we move on into the basement.
Callie, you trying to talk? I can't hear him. Is
A
anyone else?
little bit quiet.
Sorry. Yeah, just maybe we should take a quick rest before we go down.
Not a bad idea.
Alrighty, so you guys going to take a short rest?
Yeah. Not exactly in a great rush.
I think it'd be a good idea, yeah.
Alrighty. So anybody going to be burning hit die? Want to roll that up for me?
Roll 2. Plus 2.
Okay, so I've got 9 health back for Cal.
Plus 2. So
I'm going to do hit dice.
we get me back to 72.
Yep, that'll do. Sorry, I was.
Alrighty, so everybody want to tell me what their restore
Three.
health is to?
I just got 23, which puts me back on maximum. Didn't get hit again, did I? I can't remember. Did I get
No,
hit?
yeah, that's good. That'll take you to 64. Sorry, Rich, what did you say yours got you to?
I rolled 10. Do you get the Constitution modifier on every dice?
I don't actually know.
I think
Get it on
so.
all of them. I think it's just however many you choose to roll.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure
I'm sure
that is
that's
the
how it
case.
is.
Yeah,
I
so
think
how
it's-
many dice plus you? Yeah, that times how many cons?
Cool. So I gained 13 then. So I'm up to 78.
78, okay.
I gained 19 and I'm up to 62.
62.
I've regained 17, so I'm up to 45.
45, and how long do your temporary hit points last for?
I think it's until a rest. So
You'll lose the 11 temporaries then.
yeah, that's the usual rule with temporary hit points, isn't it? Until it's a
Yeah, I was just wondering whether yours had any special caveats, because
I do not blame you. The Artificer does have lots of fiddly bits.
Alrighty. So
Mhm.
you guys take a moment to kind of regroup and kind of bind the worst of your wounds. At this point, Ignatius, seeing that you guys are a bit more at ease, kind of comes down, and again, you can see he's quite upset that some damage has been done. So it's unthinkable that these golems were here. Golems haven't been produced in these parts for, well, close to 200 years now.
All right, Bilbo.
How
Fucking
long
A.
do you estimate that this place has been abandoned for?
Well, it's clearly he looks around. It's definitely pre-Empire. That's for sure. I would struggle to put an actual date on it as of yet. I'd have to do more study, but safe to say, probably close to at least a millennia.
Maybe that would explain why the golems are here.
So you can see he's kind of wandering around, looking at various parts of this. And sorry, you can see that this, kind of does tie up with the style of architecture you would expect to see from kind of a holy order. The kind of religious element here is clear. Definitely not of Ilafari design, nor that of Tildrache either.
Ooh, something entirely new. Well, I mean, the golems were still active, so I doubt this was like ancient historic site. Maybe it's like a certainly not predating the Tildrache.
Or isn't it?
Or is it? I mean, that's just my guess, because the topaz used in the golems was a outdated solution that didn't hold much charge. The fact that they were able to animate like that, they must have been... I feel that the charge may have lost over if it was an ancient design. But I don't know, magic be magic. Maybe they had better spells for it. We don't know.
So, Tarek, this does pose a series of questions. Who knows? Maybe you'll get answers. Maybe you won't. But it's definitely interesting as a mental bit of gymnastics while everybody's resting up. So yeah, you guys, you take your hour, you patch for worst of your wounds, and Ignatius kind of says to you all now, if you'd be so kind, I would be very interested to learn what lies beneath. But well, seeing these two, I'm not so keen to go down there myself.
We would love to. Don't you worry about it.
That's what we came for.
So the stairway is not without its kind of erosion from the passage of time. It hasn't gone unscathed, but the passageway isn't blocked. So as you carefully make your way down, you can see that. Oh, sorry. So Triss, there is magic coming from down below of some degree.
Can I tell what kind?
At this point, not exactly clearly, but it seems to be it's the kind of magic that one would cast on an item.
Okay. Continue on.
That's as much as you can kind of garner from this distance. As you make your way down the stairs, kind of carefully not to slip on any of the moss and the lichen, you find yourself in what appears to be some sort of crypt, lining both sides of this passageway. Are clearly quite ancient sarcophagi, most of which seem to have again suffered the ravages of time. Some are cracked in places. You can see that water has been leaking through various parts, and a few of these stones have been cracked by plant roots, and so this once hallowed ground has become a bit derelict. However, at the end of this crypt, you can see that there is a bit of a raised altar. Atop this altar lies what appears to be a storage chest of some sort, kind of a stone box. Doesn't really reveal what it is that is in it, but above this statue is above this box is a statue of quite a willowy figure. Seems to be a kind of an elven woman of some description. Braxton, roll me a religion.
19.
So you realise that this is actually one of the earlier depictions of Azora from the myths of when she was actually kind of walking on this plane of existence. She's often been described as a fairly willowy woman who visits the virtuous and assists those in need. And as you look closer, you can see that this altar bears a striking resemblance to the altar at which you, when you first joined the Order, were made to swear your oath to the to kind of gain your rank. And on closer inspection, you can see that the kind of a stone in front of this chest is kind of worn away in the center, as if over time, hundreds of knees have knelt. And again, a similar kind of wearing has kind of made itself known on the top of this stone crate. Looks as if there's a hand been placed there many a time.
Well, I guess the most logical thing to do is kneel and place my hands on.
So you make your way towards the altar, passing these sarcophagi. And as you draw near, you start to get the impression that this was consecrated ground that you'd originally detected. You go to kneel, and as you do, the kind of familiarity of your home temple floods your mind. And as you lay your hand down on this stone chest, the statue kind of looks down benevolently at you, almost expecting.
Yep. So Braxton just starts to recite the oath that he was originally swore into when he was entered into the religion. I am sworn to support and encourage all good souls in need. When brave hearts look to falter, my guidance will reinvigorate the fight in my allies. My blade shall be the vessel to channel Azura's divine power to any force of evil unfortunate enough to find itself on the receiving end of its mighty blows. My actions are performed in your representation. I will strive that every action I take will highlight your benevolence and lead the unfaithful into worshipping you. I will help to recover your waning support.
Braxton, as you finish up this kind of reaffirmation of your oath, you feel like a real warmth erupt into you almost from nowhere. But as this is going on, a kind of a dull click resounds throughout the chamber. And the front wall of this stone box lowers away, and out slides what appears to be some sort of kind of mechanical shelf. Upon this shelf, you can see what appears to be the tattered remains of a garment of some sort. Triss, you're going to take some psychic damage.
Psychic damage.
Psychic damage.
Ooh.
And you're going to take 9 of it as Braxton recites this, and the statue reacts to it.
Don't I have resistance to psychic damage now? Is that included in that?
You do. You do. Yes, that is true, actually. So maybe 4. But kind of a little migraine almost as this is happening. Braxton, what you see before you kind of is enough to kind of make you visibly kind of falter for a moment as you find yourself looking at one of the relics of the maiden. This garment, you recognize it as being one of the lost artifacts, but your chapter travels this constant looking to recover and dates back to the, well, if you believe the legends, the time when Azura did in fact walk this earth. You realize immediately that this is something that the Grand Master of your order would be extraordinarily interested in obtaining.
At that point, Torik's gonna step close and be like, "A bit of cloth. Amazing how it hasn't rotten through," and goes forward to examine it.
Not angrily, but sternly. Braxton's hand just goes onto Torik's chest to stop him walking towards the artifact.
Oh. I think Torik would just be a little lost for words. He doesn't know how to deal with quiet people.
This is best to be touched as little as possible. It is wondrous that we have found an artifact of such importance. It must be carefully packed and taken back to my order. It must be taken back home.
Did you guys read the contract to this quest? It might be that any findings belong to the scholar.
Well, he's perhaps he's more interested in ruins themselves than any finding.
Braxton, you would know that if this Ignatius was even half the scholar he claimed to be with experience in the Order, you know that he would literally probably kill for an artifact of this importance.
Yeah. He will most certainly try and claim it for his own. It might be best if he doesn't know about its presence.
Very well. We should close up this contraption. Look like there's nothing here.
I mean, he has paid us.
Stow that away somewhere.
Maybe he's just interested in just the discovery. Not all scholars want to lock away these things forever. After all, it does belong to the church, doesn't it?
This is a once in a, I wouldn't even say once in a lifetime. This is a once in many lifetimes discovery. I do not trust the will of people as they are around something such important.
Okay, Braxton. If it's that important to you, I'll follow your lead. Maybe someone should keep an eye on him, just in case he's coming.
Rulin will try and close up the shelf. Braxton's going to take the cloth away.
Okay, so you, Bryson, as you take this garment, the moment your hand lays itself upon it, well, Torek, you kind of standing next to him, you see Braxton's eyes cloud over, and he kind of stops in his tracks for a moment. Braxton, you find yourself overlooking a lake somewhere. It's not a lake you've seen before. However, on the shore near to you, a woman is sat. As you notice her, she turns her face towards you, and you see a wistful smile on her face before you are snapped back to reality and back in the crypt.
Zora? Everyone hears me say as I kind of come to.
Who's Zora?
Everyone turns except Tarek. Sometimes, my friend. You look like you've seen a ghost there, Braxton.
Well, I wouldn't say a ghost, but I'm sure I just saw a Zora. I was not here though. I don't know, somewhere else.
You didn't move anywhere. You were still stood there. A holy vision, perhaps?
Perhaps they smiled at me. Perhaps this is affirmation that we are doing the right thing.
So you said there were more of these artifacts.
Yes, I believe there are a few, but research is very tricky and a lot of the leads are inconclusive. We've never come across something as good as this before.
Indeed, as the Order found itself being driven out of the mainland, lots of archives were lost in the fairly hasty relocation of temples and chapters, including quite a few relics, either such as these or ones of lesser importance, but a lot of the the Order's history was, as a result, lost to this.
I'll look around the rest of the tomb and see if there's anything interesting.
So the rest of the tomb is relatively simplistic in design. The main features being these raised sarcophagi. You can see from the carvings, both atop and around the sides of these, those interred here were clearly knights of some rank, to have kind of merited a place as prestigious as this for their eternal slumber. However, most of these have cracked in places, and you suspect that the remains inside have long since rotted away.
So this is a tomb of these fake knights. Perhaps there's more such places where these relics could be sealed away.
That is more than reasonable.
Maybe if we find ourselves back in Waden, do some more research, Toric?
I could do what I could, but things of this nature, my knowledge would be quite limited on on a identifying sense of view. Religion has never been my forte, so to speak. Tris, have you taken a look at it? Maybe you can identify it and learn if it has any hidden properties.
Maybe. Tris is going to move forwards cautiously and kind of look at Braxton to see if he's okay with her going near it.
No touch. Yeah, I know identify you won't disturb it in any way. So Braxton just nods.
Tris cautiously puts her hand out to touch the item and cast Identify.
So Tris, you move forward to identify this, and as Braxton holds it and kind of offers it towards you, as your fingers brush against this, Braxton, it's like watching a switch being flipped. Tris just loses consciousness.
Oh.
There and then. Tris, you don't even know what happens. You just black out. The next thing you're aware of, you kind of come to with your companions very concerned, looking down on you a few moments later.
Did my smelling peppers work?
Is that god awful smell in my nose? Yeah, I think it worked.
Another successful experiment.
Yeah, someone else is gonna have to take a look at that thing. It does not like me, and I'm not really a fan of it.
Well, yeah. Maybe it's attuned to only those of the order. Possibly.
I'm probably quite far from that.
Yes, it probably would be best to return it to the order where we can investigate it properly.
Sounds like a good idea.
Oh, there is one upside. If the scholar with us discovers we have it, we only need let him touch it and he'd go unconscious in theory.
I mean, I wouldn't bet on that. I would have someone else from our group touch it and see first. It might just be me that it dislikes. It gave me a god-awful headache when I first saw it.
Well, Torek, catch me if I fall unconscious.
It's like one of those trust experiments.
I just got this image of like Torek, like, the small gnome that he is trying to catch Rulin.
I'll just gently touch the edge of the cloth.
So Rulin, you kind of reach out for it, and as your fingers brush against it, you can feel it's a fairly coarse garment, clearly very old, a bit worn in places, but you have no adverse reaction to it.
Just you then, Tris.
God damn it, I hate when things take a disliking to me like that.
Maybe it's not you that it's disliking.
To be honest, it's quite refreshing to see a chink in your armor.
Triss just glares at Torek.
What? I'm saying you're flawless.
Thanks for the backhanded compliment, I guess.
Yeah, he has a certain way with words, that Torek, doesn't he?
A certain way with worms.
So, Braxton, yeah, you obviously now have this relic in your possession, so you pack it away with, the respect it deserves, making sure not to endanger that. And Rulin, you're able to kind of hide this shelf away and push it back into the box, so that it kind of looks like it did when you first arrived.
Well, we should probably let Ignatius down to take a look around. It's what he came for, after all.
So he is standing kind of at the top of the stairs, very expectantly. Is it safe? Are we okay to come down?
Yes, we've checked the place out and warded against any evil spirits. Bullshit.
He makes his way down. He's clearly very keen to investigate what's down here. And as he gets to the bottom of the stairs and lays eyes on the crypt, you can see that he doesn't even really glance at the Sarkoph guy. He makes his way straight towards the statue and the altar. Remarkable! It is still intact after all these years. And he kind of takes a real kind of good look at this, kind of getting up close and circling it a little bit, taking particular time to kind of fully examine the statue of Azura. Wow, even a first era depiction of the lady. That is something rare. He turns to you guys. Well, I can't really offer you the thanks you probably deserve. This is perfect. This will no doubt further my study significantly. I was right to hire you.
So you will be careful with this find then.
But of course, I'm a scholar. I'm no charlatan. I'm not looking for cheap trinkets. My interest is purely academic.
Do an insight on that.
Yeah, sure.
Give us the deets.
He seems genuinely offended that you would even imply that he might possibly be here to loot the tomb or whatever.
Okay. So maybe he would understand. Okay. Well, did you have any other leads towards any other temples of interest that you might want us to take a look at?
Well, the map does label a few places, but none of them are particularly nearby. I have enough work here to last me probably several years. Lots to do, my boy. Oh yes, lots to do.
Well, perhaps if we noted down those places, we could go ourselves to investigate and
Yes.
send
If we're in the
word to you
neighborhood,
of anything that we find.
Well, that could be a grand idea. Here, let me show you. And he kind of takes your map, Rulin, and kind of jots down a couple of places. So the first one is kind of just inside the Ilfari Empire, probably about a day's ride west from the ruins of Caer Pangolus. So that's the first one. The second one is a kind of a smaller distance away from Marion. Again, just a little bit west of that, kind of on the edge of this lake here. And then the other one that he points out is actually up in the northern winterlands of the Kingdom of Parthunus, away from any real civilization. But once he's jotted those down, he hands you your map back. Well, if you do happen to find anything of significant interest, please let me know.
And similarly to you, if anything is particularly interesting as you search here, be sure to send a missive to the Bastion, and they will be very interested to hear about these finds.
Yes, I will. I will certainly let them know what it is that I discover. I'm sure it will be of great interest. And well, it would be good to get any artifacts back to their rightful owners.
Agreed.
Well, I might stay here for a few days and conduct some further investigation, but I think I'll be quite capable of finding my way back home. I wouldn't want to keep you. I'm sure you're busy people. But again, thank you for what you've done here.
Indeed. Thank you for leading us to here.
And he reaches into his kind of leather duster and pulls out a small. As we agreed upon, here's a little bonus for a task well done. So each of you are going to get an additional 50 gold. And Jason, you weren't here, but you'll have had 200 for the initial contract.
Awesome. I won't say no to money.
This guy pays better than most contracts we've got recently.
That's academia for you.
Although we do still need to collect on escort. Conrad.
I didn't realize this whole adventuring thing was just for the gold. If that's the case, we could have done more jobs for the academy.
It's not just about the gold, it's helping those in need.
Helping those in need. I suppose that's also a perk of the job.
Didn't really make any gold fighting in the Colosseum, but we won the freedom. Titus's friend.
Yes. Well, I can't say that any of those are the reason why I went adventuring, but if you find joy out of them, all the power to you.
So you guys gotta take this take this added payment. Ignatius seems quite content to start studying the various kind of carvings of these sarcophagi. It looks like he is going to be happy here as a pig in mud.
I feel
That's
kind of
nice.
bad now for this year.
So then, I suppose, unless anybody has anything further they would like to investigate, probably want to head back to the city.
Yeah.
We're just going to leave him here?
Yeah, he said he'll make his own way back.
So, yeah, you guys leave Ignatius to his studies and saddle up for the way back. It's easier now that you've kind of done the path before. But Braxton, as you travel, you have a fair few things to mull over. Getting ahead, as you say, the discovery of several lifetimes lies in your pack heavily, if not in weight, then in significance. And that is something that is probably going to be of great significance to you and your order. And that is where we're going to call it tonight. So well done, guys.
If we ever find
Very, very good.